kids won't survive the trial due to adjuvants or bacterial contaminants. It's not that easy planning disease. You must plan all scenarios. An event to a war simulation with ICU overrun and no TP left to buy. But injections bring wonderful things, paralyzing 500,000 in India, and selling vaccines with no liability. Profits fly like a fountain, and God will still make them cease. When disease is what the folks need, I stopped upon the now. It's time for a shutdown. Inject my vaccine, you do fine. Chips are beautiful. Now you have disease.
You're listening to the OMB Network. Orange Man, bad.
As a result of being raised as a white person in this society, I have a racist worldview. I have deep racist biases. I have developed racist patterns. While we who are white tend to be fragile in that it doesn't take much to upset us around race, the impact of our response is not fragile at all. It's a kind of weaponized defensiveness, weaponized hurt feelings, right?
I believe white privilege is a myth. The way that they are stating that every single white person that's born have this same level of privilege that gives them an advantage over every black person that's born is rooted in hatred, deception, and division. White people still have to get up every day and go to work. And if they don't work, they don't eat. And if you work hard enough to be successful, if you don't work hard enough, you're going to end up being poor. If you sit around and complain, you're going to be poor. Have you ever heard of trailer parks? Have you ever heard of poor white people? They don't just somehow get grandfathered in to success in society just because of the color of their skin.
About racism, anti-blackness, or violence. About racism, anti-blackness, or violence. I will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible. I will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible. And do everything in my power to educate my community.
I work for Black Lives Matter. Since I work for that company, my CEO has told me to come out today and to bring you on your knees because you have white privilege. And could you just please apologize for your white privilege?
You're listening to Orange Man Bad, OMB, Orange Man Bad, OMB Network.
Arms up. B is a floppy disk, boy. Not possible. Arms up. B is a floppy disk, boy. Not possible. Arms up. B is a floppy disk, boy. Not possible. Arms up. B is a floppy disk, boy. Wait, stop.
What?
Sorry, I saw a segue and I opened it. I jumped on it.
I heard you go and I loved it. All right, this one's for you, baby. Jean-Claude? Hello?
It's dynamite. 3, 2, 1.
Now that's a hot take.
And finally, for the most unusual pre-race prayers you will ever hear.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for all your blessings. You said in all things give thanks. So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you've brought before us. Benzes and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords, and most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the RO7 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires to bring performance and power to the track. Boogity, 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 amen. Boogity, 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 amen. What's the drivers and use from tonight? Boogity, 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 amen. Woo! I want to thank you for my smoking wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use from tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity,
amen.
Boogity, 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 amen. Boogity, 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 amen. Bless the drivers and use from tonight. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife. Boogity, 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 amen.
Boogity, 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 amen. Boogity,
drivers and use from tonight. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife.
You are listening to the OMB Network. Orange Man Bad. Sit with that.
Just a little bit then, because we can do it. Why not? A little bit of Vaseline in the morning for you.
Sometimes I can't remember things. I am a gap machine. Go to Joe 30330. Come on, man, can't you see? You'll get the whole load from me. I know 8 presidents, 3 of them intimately. Third time I've run for president. Lost twice because I lied. Now I'm in the basement all alone. We need a Vaseline now. Some say I've lost my mind. Keep mixing words up all the time. We choose truth over facts. Vote for me or you ain't back. Ride the Biden gap machine, waiting for a Vaseline.
Yo! Is that you with the percussion? I didn't even realize it.
Something to the mix.
Oh my. This is not good.
Oh, no.
What the hell is this? Hold on. Do you hear me as bad as I hear you?
You sound great.
I sound great?
You're a little wild, but you sound funny.
Okay, well, you don't sound good at all. Something's very wrong with you. Hey, I'll turn mine down a little bit. That's very weird. I think you made some... let me see.
You reacted to the drums.
This sounds really dumb.
It's going to sound worse when we start digging a hole that they're digging right in front.
Hold on a second. Let me see if I can figure out why this is... You sound pretty cool, though. Now I
sound cool.
Yeah. Here, talk for a second, because this may be on your end. Talk for a second. I'll play it back for you.
Could be on my end because I'm sounding pretty cool. I'm going to the cool man mixer.
Okay, listen to this. Listen. No, it's not playing. But oh, I know why. Here we go. For you.
Could be on my end because I'm sounding pretty cool. I'm going to the cool man mixer.
You hear that?
Yeah, it's buzzing.
No, I think you need to restart your USB device. Or restart the browser, or both. And I'll do the same here just to make sure. Okay? All right. Let me see.
This no good. This no good. Okay. Okay, I guess we'll just quit the whole browser. Okay. It did sound like a Baofeng, didn't it? That was actually pretty badass. Okay. Let me restart. We had such a good Vaseline vibe going, too. Why does this happen? Let's see. Okay, are you there? Oh, not yet. There you are. That was very strange.
Well.
Could you give me a little bit of level so I can adjust appropriately?
Sure. I'm just digging the pile here that shouldn't even be here. It should have been moved by now to someplace else. But yet, here it is. And so let me just dig down and find something to read. Thank you both for all the excellent COVID news. I feel my amygdala shrinking once a week or twice a week. I'm an old school producer who's finally affording his first executive producer credit. So could I please get an "It's what we do so you don't have to" C-SPAN? Followed by a karma for a new human resource. He was born 2 weeks ago, and the hospital experience was like having a baby in prison.
Oh. All right, let me just check this.
Fat lady!
The biche is a little soft, which is not how we like her.
Fat lady!
That's better. Okay, let's see. Yeah, right. Yes, indeed.
Fat lady! Valkyrie!
Here we go. All right, everybody, it's that time once again where we break out all of our musical instruments and fire up the bat signal because it's time to retweet the toot, boost the toot. We got episode 1262 of the best podcast in the universe coming up next. Yo. Okay, I'll do a little test here. Test
Adam
1, 2,
Curry.
1, 2. Okay, that looks good. Looking pretty good. You there? Okay, I don't hear you. That's odd. Let's see. Reloading the oatmeal. $11.11. Man, that's what it sounds like without the noise gate. Yeah. So this one too. Do you have a fan on?
I'm not even here.
You don't. I know, but do you have a fan on? I said.
No, there's a bunch of work going on outside.
Oh, that sounds. I mean, to me, it just sounds like a fan.
Yeah, it probably does.
And that's the work that makes that sound, huh?
I'm trying to think why. I can hear something out there that there's a consistent sound. Let's see what that could be.
Okay.
I just think it's one of the motors. On a backhoe or something, giant backhoe. It's just... It sounds like a fan.
All right. Let me get the tape. Okay, we got the tape. Tape is set. We have prompter and speed.
It's so fucked up, it's unbelievable. Hit it.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, July 23rd, 2020. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1262.
This is No Agenda.
Celebrating victory and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm looking at the New York Times, and all I can say is, move over BuzzFeed. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
We have a winner.
Okay, who?
We have a winner. Yes, it's time to celebrate, ladies and gentlemen. We have a winner. Dr. Bill to the rescue. Everybody except the planned pharmaceutical industry. It's the Germans to the rescue.
Today, my administration reached a historic agreement with Pfizer to produce and deliver 100 million doses of their vaccine immediately following its approval. Hopefully, the approval process will go very quickly, and we think we have a winner there. We also think we have other companies right behind that are doing very well in the vaccines.
Yes.
Long ahead of schedule.
Wow, a winner, John. Woo! And it's this little firm, BioNTech. Little German firm that had to team up with Pfizer to make it look real.
Oh,
and it's an mRNA vaccine. I haven't heard anyone say how fabulous this is. It's very interesting. I thought that was Moderna's gig.
Well, because he did this, that means these guys are out of the running.
The Moderna guys?
No, the Pfizer guys.
What do you mean out of the? What do you mean out of the running? They just did the deal with Pfizer and BioNTech.
Yeah, but because Trump pushed this,
yeah,
the media and everybody's going to jump all over it, and they're out of the running automatically.
Because of course, if Trump endorses it, then it's the wrong vaccine.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So you're so smart. This is just getting him out of the way. So okay, I love this idea, and I was already so curious because no one was saying how revolutionary this was. It was BioNTech, who clearly teamed up with Pfizer for the distribution, or I don't know, the packaging.
That's what everyone does.
Yeah, licensing. They've got the infrastructure.
I'd like to see what the stock did.
Oh, the stock, it went public at, I think it went public around 20, and it's now at 100.
That's a winner.
Yeah. That's what you want to be.
Well, I wanted to bring, that's good that you brought this up right away, because I have 3 clips discussing a little bit about this, especially what's going on in South Africa with the Oxford vaccine.
Yep. That's where we love to test.
And so, they can't seem to get enough volunteers because they can't find enough people that haven't been infected. But there was a couple of things here which warrants an Ask Adam.
Oh, okay.
Because as we listen to this great news about from Pfizer, who will rue the day. Let's listen to just a little background on what's going on in South Africa. This is from Democracy Now! This is the COVID vaccine, SA Oxford.
About 20 to 22 are in the second phase of clinical testing, and
Oops, I'm so sorry. Somehow my fingers have been off. I got a new replacement MIDI controller, and I hit the wrong one. We'll cut all that out. No one will know the difference.
So I think the first issue with the trial is that what's significant is that the president and the government agreed to offer solidarity and participate in the trial, which is being led by Oxford University through South Africa's Wits University. The difficulty, of course, is one trying to secure a sufficient number of volunteers for the trial, with, as you correctly point out, within a climate where the numbers of people living with COVID are increasing, and we also estimate that that is a significant undercount because our testing strategy has been hampered by the lack of available testing kits. So the criteria for testing has changed, and in effect it amounts to rationing at the moment. The second issue with the trial, which actually is, involves quite significantly a pharmaceutical company called AstraZeneca. And the issue around AstraZeneca's relationship with Oxford, the relationship with the South African government, as in the contractual relationship, including Wits University and clinical participants in other parts of the world, in Brazil as well, is unclear. We calling for transparency in those agreements, because on the one hand, if we are going to participate in a trial that is trying to ensure equitable access to a vaccine, if it is successful.
What is that? Sounds like there's a quagmire. Nothing's going to work out. Everyone's got an issue with something.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. But the second part of this clip is kind of interesting because it actually gives us some actual information.
Oh, stop.
And it's like, here's an Ask Adam for you. Okay. How many vaccine candidates are out there currently?
You mean that are? Wait a minute. Is this the actual question? This is the Ask Adam segment?
Yep.
Oh.
Ask Adam.
Sorry.
Ask Adam. Will he know or will he won't? I don't know, but here we go. Ask Adam.
Yeah.
Ask Adam. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Here it is. Of course, I have all the answers. Now, you say vaccine candidates. Is that vaccine candidates that are currently in trial, or that are just or that are getting ready to go to trial because they've gone through the first 2 phases?
Well, disregarding the phases, how many? The answer to that.
Okay, all right.
Will be answered in the second clip.
All right, then
the first clip is just the pure. How many vaccine candidates? Okay. When people start.
All right,
if you're in the business,
I have the number.
If you're in the business,
I have the number.
Oh, okay.
100.
It's a good number.
Yeah.
All right, play the clip.
But we know that there's deep involvement of AstraZeneca, and the terms and conditions between Oxford University and AstraZeneca is not available. And this, you must remember, is only one of a possible 126 vaccine candidates.
Oh, so close. I think I deserve at least partial credit for getting into the 3. No.
You're off by 20%.
So mean. Okay.
Now, the ones going to trial are going to be mentioned. The number of that, how many are going to trial, or at least in the second stage of that 126?
Well, I have to just say 33. I mean, why not?
I'm going to give you credit for that being a very good guess.
Yes, but it's not right, I guess.
No.
Okay, here we. This is in this last clip, the phase 2 numbers. Okay.
About 20 to 22 are in the second phase of clinical testing, and there's very few, a handful of candidates that still will go to phase 3. So
now the thing is, though, AstraZeneca, we did pre-purchase $1 billion worth of the vaccine. So they took if they're going to get screwed in the deal, is that kind of their, okay, guys, it's your turn next time. Take a bill. Take a bill from Bill.
I have no idea how this works, and the intricacies of it are, I think, unknown to most people, because it's part of the great pharma scam.
Yeah.
So I have no. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they're going to have two out there both competing with each other.
There should be. I think that's the whole. I think they want to have that, and then there's some other vaccine. Forget who did that one. Maybe it's the Oxford vaccine. That is just an old school vaccine. It's not.
The Oxford is the AstraZeneca.
Right, but isn't that the old school? That's not the mRNA. They just did it the old-fashioned way, grew some shit in the egg.
I think it's whatever we've heard about it before.
Whatever it is.
They're just testing it down in South Africa. I guess they get a head start on somebody.
There's a lot of stuff that is going on. Also with the therapeutics with remdesivir. One of our producers is a lab technician and was digging around documents looking into remdesivir. I'll quote some from his note here. I was curious about the circulating metabolite, maybe, which is metabolite, which functions like an active ingredient, if you will. So that would be the active ingredient of remdesivir. I discovered something very, very interesting. Attached an NCBI article about the mechanism of action of remdesivir. So there's a lot of technical stuff in there, but it's in the show notes if you want to look it up. It's been sanitized for our lab technicians' protection. But it turns out the chemical compound they use as the metabolite is GS-441524, also known as a feline antiviral. So it turns out that a cat antiviral works to some degree against COVID. Yeah, COVID kitty cat medicine, everybody. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Melatonin, apparently now, more news, inhibits the COVID-19 induced cytokine storm. That's another good one. What's a good one to know? I mean, melatonin is easy to have around the house.
People use it commonly.
In case the cytokine, well, they sure do. Were you being facetious, or did you mean that about people using melatonin?
Am I at the point now where you can't?
I wasn't so sure on that
right?
one. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I wasn't sure.
We have bottles of it in the house because the kids like it. One time, Jay says, you ever take some melatonin before you go to bed? I said, why do I want melatonin before I go to bed?
Yeah.
It makes you sleep better. I sleep fine.
So I was partially right. People do have it around the house, but you were kind of disgusted by it.
You weren't partially right. You were wrong.
Okay. All right, then.
People, I first heard about it probably 20 years ago, and people were using it on airplane flights when they couldn't sleep on a plane.
Yeah, exactly. Or to combat jet lag, which I've never. I'm like, weed is so much better. Time to go to sleep. Boink, done. So some mask updates, and I think it's relevant to something you wrote in the newsletter, but we'll start just with the thought that I had. We are so trained with social media, and so we were so primed for this mask stuff. And so I think someone wrote me a note, and it almost bowled me over, like, oh, yes. Do you remember the Ice Bucket Challenge?
Yeah.
So this self-moral licensing this is a continuation of it.
I wouldn't necessarily 100% subscribe to that, but I think there's validity. Yeah. It's idiotic.
Yes. Which in the Netherlands translated, when they speak in a derogatory tone about masks, they call it the face diaper. which I think
you told me this.
I kind of like that one. So Shenta, who's my daughter Christina's girlfriend, she was on the train in Rotterdam I think she was going, I don't know if she was going to Amsterdam or not. And it's mandatory to have a face diaper in the train. And I guess she was fiddling around. It dropped on the ground. She picks it up, puts it back on, and she got kicked off the train.
What?
Yeah, she got kicked off the train.
She sounds like she's exaggerating the story.
No. Why would she? No, she's not exaggerating the story.
It's a millennial.
No. She's a little bit past that. She's not really a millennial. She's 30, I think. Something like that. But I think what pertains to the newsletter is I have noticed, and I hope it comes to light and it can be exposed, but there are numerous elite women who took advantage of the masking requirements and the lockdown. It was kind of a twofer for them, which includes Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, Kellyanne Conway, and as most recently revealed, Kamala Harris. They all got work done on their face, and they actually believed it when the doctor said, just a couple of days of bruising. So that's why they've been out of the running for a while. You haven't seen Kamala, and she came back, and oh my God, it's like they almost all went to the same doctor, except Nancy. She's got some kind of miracle worker. It's really astounding, and people are noticing it.
Well, Kamala Harris looks terrible.
Well, she's still swollen. That's the problem. She waited too long. I have experience in these types of procedures.
Okay, well, good, because here's the deal. I'm going to give you the whole load. So they have the pictures of Kamala Harris from 7, 8, and then from 8 days later. Mm-hmm. And she looks like she has a number of problems. To me, it still looks more like Botox than anything, except for the fact that I had to notice this the last time I looked at these horrible pictures, because I didn't get a lot of sleep yesterday, so and I kept dozing off of the computer, so I put that picture of Kamala Harris up there, and I look at it, and it just, boom, I'm wide awake. So it works.
It's anti-melatonin.
So you take this. So the thing is, if you look at her eyebrows, that's the key.
Yes,
you'll see that the corners of her eyebrows toward her ears have been lifted up. So instead of she has a low hanging fruit eyebrow that usually slips right across the top of the
that part is, I think that's Botox that did that, but she hasn't.
Well, but Botox doesn't make your thing go up.
Yes, if you inject it into the right spots, your eyebrows will raise a little bit. That's why a lot of women got them in the first place, not just wrinkles on the forehead. But she has injectables in her cheeks. And that's the stuff that they always hook these women into it. It's like, oh, we'll do an injectable. It'll be good for, 9 months. And they're never even. One's a little bit more squishy than the other. You can see it. And it takes a long time for the puffiness to go down, the rest of your face to adjust to it. She had injectables. And there's so many different kinds. Some just really suck.
Okay, well, let's go back to the original question before you go on to that, because I wanted to hear that too, which was, if she had any serious work done, 8 days later, would she be presentable or not? Still bruised up?
No, you're not. You're really not presentable. That's what the doctor always says. Couple of days of bruising, don't worry about it. Before these things really flesh out, it's typically a couple of months before really everything settles in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So she's coming out. That's what makes me think she didn't have any real work done.
No, just the injectables. That's what I think.
And some Botox.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Botox. That's every 2 months thing.
She's got so much Botox that her smile, what little of a smile she has, is turned into a grimace. She really looks horrible. I mean, if she thinks she's going to get picked for vice president now with this new look, she's nuts.
Well, I have a feeling that something else may be in play. I'm not quite sure. I want to ask some people about it. I think she may have been going for a different face look, a little less Asian, perhaps, because she's, her roots, she's Indian.
Now she's a little more Joker.
I don't think she was going for that, but yeah, that's, no, I would say she was probably going a little bit more for a ADOS look. I mean, that's just a hunch. It can't accuse her of it, but I wouldn't put it past her. I think she's done a lot of things for her career, and she desperately wants this. Everyone timed it. Even Hillary got got a little refresh, a little reboot. Again, maybe Hillary. Okay, here's what happened. Hillary said to Kamala, "Use my guy." Then this guy, because she has the same injectables,
and because it's Hillary, the guy that she uses probably hates black folk.
Now, he probably doesn't have experience with the black features. But oh man, I love that we're talking about this longer than a vaccine. That's we're really good. This is
the point is
quality
that this
entertainment.
Kamala Harris has just submarined her own career with this stupid move.
You think?
Yeah, she's dead. If Biden takes one look at her, he's going to jump just the way I do when I have her picture on the screen.
I mean, I still think that Elizabeth Warren is in the running. I mean, she's really...
The bankers already said no, they can't put her in. If they do, then there goes the money.
Okay, so is Kamala then the only choice left?
My thesis about who's getting picked and who's not, and of course I'm on A.B. Klobuchar's side, but she got screwed by current events.
Yes, she did.
Not my fault, but... I'm going by the original thesis that brought Bloomberg into the conversation and brought him into the running, that the bankers do not want Biden. The bankers do not want Bernie, and they do not want Warren because of the way they've both been threatening the banks. So those two are just done.
Right. And of course, all this Bernie unity platform stuff is just all a charade. Whoever's coming in as the actual vice president who is intended to be the president. But I just don't see it. I really am at a loss for who could it be? Do they have anybody?
Well, at this point, it's up for grabs, and then Biden's being pressured. I didn't get this clip, but Joy Reid, no, I didn't get it. Joy Reid had him on her show, and she was demanding, she says, are you going to right now tell us that you will be nominating a black woman?
Yeah.
What's wrong with a black man, by the way? It just has to be a black woman because Biden claimed he's going to pick a woman, which is stupid. Why did you claim anything, dummy? So he's being pressured to put a black woman in, and if he does that, it's believed by me and other former Democrats that the Democrat women who want a white woman as the first president of the United States that's a female are going to just bolt.
Right. So who do the white women have as a candidate? Who can they support?
I think it would be. I think what your original pick would be Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
Which they don't know, or they don't want to come to grips with the fact that the bankers have nixed it.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know.
I mean, he can still pick her and screw the bankers, and because of all the pressure, he's got to pick somebody.
Yeah. Well, Hillary is on the scene again. I mean, I'll just since I happen to have a clip and we're talking about her.
All she can I guess is going to be about Russia screwed her.
Give you a chance to respond to the fact that Donald Trump has now commuted the sentence of at least one of the people who was listening. Russia was clearly listening, but so was Roger Stone. What do you make of the commutation of his sentence?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that Stone threatened him. He probably threatened him privately, but he also threatened him publicly about what he would say if he had to go to prison. And this is a continuation of the cover-up.
Brother.
It's an ongoing cover-up that Trump and Stone are two of the major participants in to try to prevent us from knowing all of the details about what they actually did in 2016. Some of it was very public. I mean, asking Russia in public to interfere in an American election, but some of it was clandestine, behind the scenes, sending messages, the kinds of things that we know about, and I think much more. So what he did to use the awesome power of commutation as part of the pardon power of the president to basically shut up Roger Stone so that Roger Stone would not spill any more beans about what actually happened and how much Donald Trump actually knew.
Yeah, unlike your husband who pardoned Mark Rich, went on to screw millions out of billions or trillions maybe, and Susan Goldberg, the Weather Underground bomb carrier, and many other fun people. Yeah, of course, commutation. Makes nothing but sense.
Russians.
While we're playing these clips, we might as well officially identify ourselves. We have joined a new network. We are the founding members of the network and very proud to be a part of it. And it will soon be streaming everywhere.
You are listening to the OMB Network. Orange Man Bad. Sit with that.
You have no idea how many submissions came in for this network. Just an
Orange Man Bad Network?
Yeah, here.
You're listening to the OMB Network. Orange Man Bad.
I'm not quite sure if it's R-rated, this network.
Well, the way she does it.
Yeah, everybody jumped in. So we had Fletcher, that was Dame Jennifer, and Darren, of course.
You are listening to the No Agenda Show on the OMB Network. Orange Man Bad.
I think we can get investors.
Well, in this climate, yeah, we got a few months.
I think it's really possible.
It could continue. Man,
I wanted to dive into something. I alluded to it just a second ago, how Bill Clinton pardoned Susan Goldberg. And Susan Goldberg, we bumped into, I think maybe a couple of shows ago. She was a member of the Weather Underground, and I guess she carried bombs, placed it in government buildings. I don't think anyone was hurt or killed, but it did cause a lot of damage. And she went, I think she had a 54-year sentence, but then got out after 16 years when Bill Clinton pardoned her in 2001, Susan L. Rosenberg. And we ran into her because she is the vice chair of the board of directors of Thousand Currents, which is the nonprofit, which is the fiscal sponsor for Black Lives Matter, or Black Lives Matter, Inc., I should say. Do you remember we talked about her, Susan Rosenberg?
You know, the funny thing is, yeah, I remember talking about it, but I don't remember her being the Clinton pardonee.
Oh, I just ran into that by accident. That's new information for me, too. So I really did a deep dive on Thousand Currents. Like, what exactly? They seem to be more of a pass through than anything. Their mission is we're very concerned about people in the Southern Hemisphere. Blah blah blah. Nothing really about Black Lives Matter. But I think Susan Rosenberg, looking at her history, she knows how to run nonprofits and do the financing. So if there is a network of old Marxist communists who are infiltrating, then she would be the one to come up with this whole fiscal sponsorship scheme. So Black Lives Matter isn't a nonprofit by itself. It's just a group with a bank account, and they get money, and presumably just, I don't even know what their status is, this fiscal sponsorship, or this fiscal sponsor, I think it is. It's very odd. So she probably figured that one out. And I think maybe we both had this clip of Patrisse Cullors saying that she was a trained Marxist.
Yeah.
Well, I dove into that thinking I could connect her to Susan Rosenberg. And it wasn't just that one interview. She said it on a different interview as well. And it's kind of part of her script, I noticed.
She's proud of herself.
She's proud of herself, yeah.
I think that the criticism is helpful. I also think that it might... I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories, and I think that what we really try to do is build a movement that could be utilized by many, many Black folk.
So, super versed. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like some kind of badge. She's super versed as a trained Marxist. By coincidence, or maybe not, I was talking with Mo, and he gave me a little bit of background on Marxism with ADOS, or African Americans, dating back to the 30s. And I had no idea that let's say blacks in the South, that they were kind of, Well, they weren't actually recruited, but they were drawn to communist stooges who were out trying to get get workers unionized and cause trouble in the United States. And so I just
but you have to remember, yes, this is true, and actually probably even goes into the 20s, but you have to remember that in the 30s, during the Depression, half the country was being lured by the communists.
Yes. That's the beauty of it.
Including half of Hollywood.
They didn't actually go after, they weren't intending to go after blacks. Here's the story.
How did the Communist Party get started in Alabama?
In 1928, the communist position internationally was that African Americans in the South have the right to self-determination, meaning they have the right to create their own nation in the South. And it's a position that came out of Moscow. It came from other black communists around the globe. And with that idea in mind, they sent 2 organizers to Alabama, and they went to Birmingham. And they chose Birmingham because it was probably the most industrialized city in the South. And they went there thinking they would organize white workers, and from white workers, black workers would follow. But no white workers would come forward. And so the first 2 organizers was a guy named James Julio, who was a Sicilian worker who had migrated to Alabama, and another guy named Tom Johnson. And together, they went out looking for white workers, and black workers came. And black workers came in fairly large numbers right away, because for them, they had a memory of Reconstruction, a memory of the Civil War. And in that kind of collective memory, they were told that one day the Yankees would come back and finish the fight. Well, when they saw these white communists, they said, oh, good, the Yankees are here. We can't wait to join.
I thought that was really interesting that they went there to get white workers, and the blacks came, and they kind of, I guess they got hoodwinked. And,
Well, I think that's kind of a patronizing story, if not.
It's very simplistic. It's very simplistic.
Not as though the black people that showed up for this meeting were stupid.
Absolutely
necessarily.
Not. No, absolutely not. I think they were lied to. That's what I think. It doesn't really matter. I'm just showing this.
You have to remember, again, there's lots of commies all over the place during the 30s.
Right, and
I think to take over the country. They were trying to overthrow the government. Besides the fact that the Democrat Party was trying to overthrow the government of Roosevelt with the attempted coup.
Yes,
and
exactly. So
the whole place was a mess. My dad used to tell me these stories about the Depression era and it's kind of like it is now, which is a depression.
Okay, so I'll just jump ahead. I don't have to prove that there's been a lot of Marxist influence on African Americans, but not to turn them into Marxists or communists, but to use them as a tool. As a tool, yes, as a tool.
Use the right word.
And dupe? As a dupe. Dupe? Okay.
Dupe is the word.
So I'm glad that your dad would yap about that, and I'm glad that you say it's very similar to now. As I found the Democracy Now! Clip, here's Patrisse Cullors, once again, co-founder of Black Lives Matter. And let's see if we can tie her into any of these groups from, of course, not the 30s, but maybe the 60s, 70s.
As you began to develop the Black Lives Matter theme, and also talk about the strategy. You mentioned you had come out of the Strategy Center. What was the Strategy Center?
Well, I'm a trained organizer, and so I think sometimes people think that because Black Lives Matter is the biggest thing, that's the first thing I ever did, and it's not. I was trained knocking on doors, getting on buses and passing out flyers and getting people to join organizations. The Labor Community Strategy Center is my first political home. It's where I would be a part of what it's famous for, which is the Bus Riders Union.
Started by an old friend of mine.
Yes, Eric Mann. That's my mentor.
Eric Mann, double N. Does this ring a bell?
Oh, it sounds familiar, but it doesn't ring a bell.
Another Weather Underground member.
Oh, okay.
Who also set up the Bus Riders Union in Los Angeles. And currently runs, I think for the past 10 years or even longer, the Labor Community Strategy Center in Los Angeles, which, interestingly, he goes back to the August 29th movement, also known as ATM, which in 1978 merged with the Chinese American organization IWK, the Iwar Kuen. and the Black Revolutionary Communist League to form the multiracial, multinational League of Revolutionary Struggle, which I think is we're looking at derivative groups of that right now. And she trained for over 10 years with Eric Mann. So you got to think maybe she picked up a few tips. So I found a 2010 workshop online by Eric Mann called the Transformative Workshop. It's at a university. I'm not sure which one, but possibly in Los Angeles. And here you can hear where his whole thing is he wants to kill the empire, which is, overturn the government. I think that's kind of what the old Marxist socialists, that's what they always want to do, turn it into the welfare state, get rid of capitalism. But that's called transformation and transformative organizing.
The second is that transformative organizing begins by a challenge to the U.S. empire. We live in a country that is running 2 declared wars at the same time, Iraq and Afghanistan, that is causing misery for basically people all over the world, except in Venezuela, Cuba, and other places where they've been successfully able to resist imperialism. When they talk about getting rid of poverty and people who have only $2 a day, that's based on the United States imperialism imposing its free market economy on the world so that people can't even have water in their own countries. So
with these people in our scholastic system and educational system, there's no wonder they turn out hating America. I mean, this guy is speaking at a university. Yeah. He's written books. I mean, there's legion of these people.
He says, this is typical of these guys. He says, we're having 2 simultaneously declared wars.
Yes.
We had no declared wars.
Neither were declared, exactly. But the tactics of the Marxists are well known. It's pit 2 teams against each other, and then you can control both, and they'll actually work side by side. And
it's kind of the way the CIA does it.
I think it goes back to Hegel. It's been around for a while, this concept, but you can do man, woman, might sound familiar. You can do race, black, white, but it's not really about the black or the white or the man or the woman. It's about weakening the empire to overthrow it, as he explains in this clip.
When I got involved in the movement, it was for civil rights and against the war. And very quickly, civil rights started calling itself black liberation. And the against the war was Vietnamese liberation. So we were part of an anti-racist, anti-imperialist united front, and we all became radicalized. And I think that's what we want to do today, is bring this into low-income communities of color, because we believe that these advanced ideas are not imposing our agenda on somebody. It means that we're somebody, that we have views, we're part of the community. The community is divided. We'll bring those ideas in, and the community will decide if they want them. They're free agents, but it makes no sense to go in and say, I have no agenda, when you do have an agenda.
Yeah. And they do have an agenda. The agenda is to overthrow the empire. But these groups, this guy and trained Patrice Cullors, see race as a tool, or use racial groups as stooges to achieve their overthrow of the empire.
Transformative organizing focuses on society's most oppressed and exploited classes. It's a strategic alliance.
Strategic.
We believe eventually that the vast majority of people in the United States can be won to an anti-racist, anti-imperialist politics. But that's going to be very, very hard, and you have to start somewhere. We start with the intersection of the Black and Latino community as a strategic alliance that's central to building a broader multiracial left. And within that, the role of the Black and Latino working class, including defining the working class as women in the home, bus riders, prisoners, people on AFDC, yes, factory workers, people at the point of production. But there are many ways to organize the working class besides just as workers, because they're working class every minute of their day. So we have a bus riders union. We have community rights trying to get kids out of the pre-prison system. Those people are just as working class as a factory worker.
So it really doesn't matter, as long as they can get a pro and a con group together, they'll use it to weaken the system. And this is the only clip that really matters, this one, because I think that this type of thinking that clearly is in universities, probably in grade schools, and has taken over the woke infrastructure with Black Lives Matter is in fact this dishonest crap that they're doing to weaken society. It's not about race. It's not about LGBT. You think you're special. No, they don't care about you. This is identity politics, which I agree is where the Democrat Party is all in on this. And this is what really matters. He answers the question, what do you actually want?
When you're involved in a movement, they always say, well, what do you people want? When you're not, when you go to the police station or you go to the university. So here are some things we want that we think are systematic with transformative organizers.
Systematic transformative organizers.
Yeah, they're all caught up in these terms.
This is 10 years ago, though. This is 10 years ago.
It's not that long ago.
Well, here we go with the list.
The show's older than this guy's speech.
Free the U.S. 2 million prisoners.
No prisons.
U.S. out of Afghanistan and Iraq now. Bring the troops home.
Troops home.
We want the social welfare state, not the police state. We want 100,000 more buses, new hospitals, mental health clinics and public schools, and 100,000 less police.
Sound familiar?
Free, safe, and legal abortion with public support and financing, and minors having the right to abortion without parental consent. Reparations for the transatlantic slave trade to the peoples of Africa, the African diaspora, and black people in the U.S.
It's a long list.
Unconditional amnesty and option of citizenship for 12 million immigrants. Open the U.S. border.
Open the borders.
Full democratic rights and equality for LGBTQ people.
All right.
Shut down the 810 U.S. bases of military occupation.
All right.
Stop the traffic of women and girls, which is very related to those 810 bases.
Probably true.
Reverse global warming. Stop offshore drilling. Restrict the oil.
Global
Adopt
warming.
The Bolivian proposal for the Kyoto Treaty that will reduce greenhouse gases to 50% below 1990 levels by 2017.
There's your climate change.
That's Evo Morales, not Barack Obama. Self-determination and sovereignty for the Palestinian people.
Hello, Ayanna Presley.
That's always got to be in there.
It's got to be in there.
It's code.
Yeah.
Jobs or income now for the 32 million unemployed.
Yep. Guaranteed jobs.
Remove all CIA operatives from Venezuela and other third world countries.
Protect the communists.
And stop the embargo on Cuba.
Get rid of Marco Rubio.
Finally, end the war on drugs, the war on crime, the war on gangs, and the war on terror.
Okay. So, if it sounds familiar, that's because I think that's been going on.
Well, it's very familiar. It's also on the list of the radical abolitionist movement web pages.
Yep.
And it's been there for years. None of this is new. None of this is should be a shock to anybody.
No.
I'm sure you got the 10-year moment. I bet you go back 20 years, you'll find another example of it that is limited. It's the same, but they put the trendy things in, like climate change and
they
LGBTQ, whatever.
But a lot of people don't realize it. They just say, oh, it's Marxist, it's social. No, they don't really know what they're talking about. And to me, that kind of brought it all into clarity. Okay, when we say this, or cultural Marxism, whatever you want, it's this. It's this. And it's not to solve anyone's problem. It's only to ultimately get rid of the police, get rid of the army. Yeah, so they can walk in, I guess. And they prey on weak people.
Dummies.
And I think Patrisse Cullors was primed, that she was ready to be sucked into this. Listen, this is just a few quick clips about her growing up. And it sounds a little reminiscent of Robin DiAngelo.
I grew up queer. I grew up as working class, queer, black woman, and single parent household.
No father.
My father was in and out of prison, addiction. Both basically all my family is just like the kind of typical life of black working class people.
So she's 17. I'm sorry.
I don't think that necessarily being a drug-addled is a life of typical black working class people.
No, that's her generalization, but this is her recounting
and by
the story.
Way, she's a wreck. Everything's, she put the checklist down. Let's follow what she has to say. She's obviously the one to follow because of her background. This is like insanity. Okay.
So let's follow her for a second because you can see the model is there. This is the easy prey.
I think for me, when I came to the organization, when I was organized into the organization, I was...
How about that for some cultish language, huh? When I was organized into the organization.
I think for me, when I came to the organization, when I was organized into the organization, I was 17 and a half. I was really angry. And I didn't have a direction. I just was spewing anger. I was angry at what I bared witness with my family and police brutality. I was angry that my mother had to work 3 jobs and she never slept. I was angry that just like there were so many things that I was looking at and so many things that I was angry about. And Damon Azali and Jaron Brown, who's in the room today, who's a part of Power, who I joked with, I said, hey, remember how I was 17 and a half and you organized me? Organized me into the bus riders union at the time. And what actually...
it's cult code, or they're laughing about it. You remember when you organized me? There's obviously some kind of ritual or something.
That sounded like she got laid.
Caught my attention. I was... they had showed a 10-minute clip of the bus riders union, and there was the scene in the film where there's a black woman organizing on the bus, and there's a Korean woman organizing in the back of the bus. And the black woman is speaking Spanish. And I'm like, wait, what? And then the black woman turns to a Korean grandmother and goes, oh, Korean? Calls to the Korean organizer in the back and is like, we have a Korean speaker, can you come organize her? And I was sold.
Organize her.
I was like, that's what I want to be a part of. That right there makes sense to me. So...
That using it as a verb that way, organize me, is weird. That's cultish stuff. Remember when you organized me?
Code.
Yeah.
It's code.
Anyway, so the bottom line, this is her real issue.
My life hasn't really changed much. My brother's still in prison. My father passed away in December. And what I say of racism, he was only 53 years old. And he passed of racism because this country killed him.
Okay, so there's some hatred there. Some severe hatred issues. This country killed him. So no wonder. And she is organized. So all of this it's a cycle, I guess, except now we have the social media network aspect to it, and that cranks up the noodle gun, which is
you have the
lethal.
Dummies that are all in on this thing because we have to destroy the country, we just overthrow the government, which is really what this boils down to when it comes, because that's what they say.
Yes.
Why would you? So in other words, especially you're in college in the university somewhere and you can actually afford to go to one of them and you want to overthrow the government because you will benefit in some way. Is that because you can benefit or for some? I mean, what is the point? This is a very interesting fog that they've established.
Oh, yeah.
People are roaming around stupidly.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Part of it, I take my learnings from Professor Theodore Kaczynski, who said that, you look at the kids, we went through think of the children, give them participation trophies. They've never had anything to fight for. They haven't had to fight for shelter, for food. The ones that we're seeing protesting, at least. The looting is a different gang, different bunch, but it's also explainable. But the protests that turn into LARPing attacks, they're finally these kids have something to live for. They were given, the 20-year-olds now, they were, hey, come to college, you get a piece of paper, it's going to be great. And then they're working for $11 to $15 an hour, doing retail, customers treating them like shit. And they have no future. They've not been challenged. And all of a sudden this comes along and wow, yeah. And the feedback mechanism of the videos and the online postings and the likes and the shares and the community and the rainbows and everything. It's so obvious to me now. And all you need to do is just throw a couple of organizers with some money. Thank you, George Soros, with an extra $220 million promised. So we know where that's going. That's going into the Susan Rosenberg version of or half of the system, and she distributes the money, or people like her. I'm sure there's many more when we look. And these are the old fuckers from the 60s and 70s. That's what's so crazy. They're still in the game.
Yeah, well, they should have been kept in jail, but I guess what are you going to do?
I'm impressed.
Well, I'm also kind of, you have to kind of admire Soros. Because if you really think about it, when I worked for Bill Ziff, you get these guys that get a lot of money. Bill Ziff was one of the first of the first round of billionaires. He was one of the first. Mm-hmm. Back when there was like 20 in the world, not 1,000. And and people talk about, his relatives would talk about this too. He liked to fuck with people. He had this huge bunch of magazines, and he'd find a couple of people.
I know a lot of rich people who do that shit.
Yeah, it's actually, people watch the movie Changing Places with Eddie Murphy and whoever else was in it, with the two rich guys who bet $1 that if these two guys are given this, it was some crazy
trading places.
Yeah, the trading places. It just to screw with people. And the idea was you note that there was these two people that were bitching about each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you put them together.
Yeah.
Making the head of some new magazine. Or you do something like that, or you just swap somebody out for no good reason.
That kind of stuff, like make them co-CEOs of a publication or co-editors just to see him blow up? That's sick. That's sick.
And that's what the kind of thing, and it's not just, like you said, there's a lot of super rich people
that do evil. It's fucking, and I think it's hilarious.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's evil. It's good-hearted fun by their standards.
Yes, precisely. Different group, different standard.
And so I'm convinced Soros is one of these guys. Only he does it on a grand worldwide scale, and he just has to be, because he's always got a kind of a shit-eating grin in a funny kind of a way. You know, when you see him speak, he's got this stupid look on his face.
Yeah,
like he's just got it. He's just having nothing but fun.
It's interesting, though, if you look at Soros, Goldberg, and Mann, when you see a group of these three people, it's not hard to understand why many ADOS think, the Jews are out to get the black man. Soros, Goldberg, and Mann. What's interesting, I forgot to clip it. Mann said that he grew up, I think he was born in 42 or 43, and his mom...
Yeah, a silent generation. That's what most of those guys, very few of them are baby boomers. Baby boomers are more likely to be patriotic.
And his mom would just hound him about, the fascists, and specifically the fascists. They came for the Jews, they'll come again, and they're going after black people. And that's kind of his reasoning for why he's so interested in the plight of dark-skinned people. Doesn't really matter with their history as long as they're dark-skinned. Yeah, it's kind of
rather patronizing.
But I think that's where he gets it all from. It's insane when you start to dive into it and you look at what's happening. Like every single topic, from climate change to LGBTQIAPK, equal rights. Not that I'm against equal rights, but it's like all of this stuff. It's all their fingerprint, and it's the same thing. It's just now it's being used. I mean, is it still being used by China, who have infiltrated everywhere and deploy this, or is it just the Democrat Party, or is it also the Republican Party? Is everyone doing? Are we the only shitheads who aren't doing this stuff yet?
It's the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. They know these tactics. These all stem from early Marxist tactics. Lenin.
Right.
It's nothing new to them, and so they probably they would just amplify it. Sure, they know what's going on. They're not idiots.
And China is asshole.
It's asshole.
So let's talk about some spies. We got spies in Houston, and they're going through the standard operating procedure of the burn bag, which is everyone's like, "This is crazy! Look what's going on! They're burning documents." Remember the Russian embassy? Who closed? Was Trump who kicked him out in like his second week?
Obama.
Was it still Obama?
Yeah.
And they immediately started burning documents. So that's the standard operating procedure. That's what you do.
Well, maybe it was Trump. Maybe it was early in Trump.
I thought it was early in Trump.
But that was I've got a bunch of clips on this, and it's stuff I didn't know.
Good.
And we can start with listening to a few of these if you want to talk about the consulate.
Yeah, let's do that.
This is Chinese Consulate 1.
I could have guessed.
A global fight escalates again. Today's move to close the Chinese consulate in Houston is the latest action by the Trump administration against Beijing. Nick Schifrin reports on what is at stake.
In the courtyard of China's Houston consulate, Chinese staff in a hurry. They burned documents in drums last night after the administration ordered the consulate closed, citing a pattern of Chinese theft and espionage.
We are setting out clear expectations for how the Chinese Communist Party is going to behave. And when they don't, we're going to take actions that protect the American people.
Administration and intelligence officials tell PBS NewsHour the Chinese have used the Houston consulate as a hub for espionage. Just yesterday, the Department of Justice for the first time accused Chinese hackers of working for both personal gain and the Communist Party.
China has now taken its place alongside Russia, Iran, and North Korea in that shameful club of nations that provide a safe haven for cyber criminals in exchange for those criminals being on call for the benefit of the state.
But senior officials tell PBS NewsHour today was also about diplomatic reciprocity. In January, out of fears of COVID, the U.S. evacuated its Wuhan consulate. It has not reopened because of a dispute over whether U.S. employees have to quarantine and take COVID-19 tests upon arrival at Chinese airports. Longer term, U.S. officials say they want to reduce their footprint in China. In addition to the Beijing embassy, the U.S. has 5 consulates on the Chinese mainland and the Hong Kong consulate. Senior officials say they've accepted the likely permanent closure of one consulate and intend to move it elsewhere in Asia.
You know, it's really no wonder when you listen to these news reports, and I wonder who was doing that reading, what the station it was on, because there's no wonder that no one gives a crap about China, because it's really not compelling the way it's delivered. The hell? What station is this?
That's your PBS NewsHour. Hello.
Oh, my God, that's really so exciting. I don't know why people don't listen to it, but we did report on the story, but I just spoke it this way, and then no one really paid attention to me. I'm pretty good at that.
Get that voice down. You nailed it. You can go to work. That's an exit strategy.
I can work for
you can go
PBS.
to work for PBS.
Woo! Exit strategy, everybody.
Yes, I would agree with that. In fact, yes. Well, again.
Yeah, that's why we're here. So what did he actually say? Because I fell asleep, I think, halfway through.
He said that there's a quid pro quo at play.
Yeah, was this because of
on the one
testing?
hand, but a lot of it had to do with this indictment, which was linked in the show in the indictment. The actual indictment was linked in the newsletter.
Yes, it was,
and you can read it. I read it. It's very entertaining.
What did you learn?
I learned that these guys are bad actors.
What were they
They're
doing?
Stealing us blind. They've been doing it for 30 years, apparently. And nobody's done anything about it until Trump came along. And it was going to continue until we just basically had no industry. It moved everything, all industrial manufacturing and everything to China because it was cheaper.
I'm really amazed no one is so outraged like you are, because probably they didn't hear it when I was telling them the story about what was going on with China and Chinese spying. Okay, you get the gag? Okay, good.
Yeah, the gag's good.
2. Chinese consulate 2. I can't wait.
There you go.
More.
Security advisor Robert O'Brien on the ideology of the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP.
The CCP's stated goal is to create a community of common destiny for mankind and to remake the entire world according to the CCP.
FBI Director Christopher Wray.
If you're an American adult, it is more likely than not that China has stolen your personal data.
And Attorney General William Barr.
The ultimate ambition of China's rulers isn't to trade with the United States. It is to raid the United States.
U.S.-China relations are at their lowest point since relations began in 1979. Take the case of Houston.
The eyes of Texas were on Deng Xiaoping today.
In 1979, then Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping visited the city and the Johnson Space Center. Houston was the first Chinese consulate in the U.S. But while some China watchers worry about the confrontation, the Trump administration says it's overdue.
For an awful long time, our policy simply reflected allowing China to engage in behavior that was radically unreciprocal, enormously unfair to the American people, and frankly put America's national security at risk. And so we have begun to turn that around.
It's interesting that PBS did pick a couple of quotes from Barr, the piece that we played, but just, one or two quickies. Didn't put any of the Nazi talk.
He didn't get any of the good stuff, and he didn't get anything good from Ray. But by the way, it was interesting in that clip where you had this monotone guy you've been ridiculing here, and talks like this, and then they throw back to a clip from the 1970s where it was CBS.
The eyes of Texas are on.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
And then Deng Xiaoping. You know, it's
hey, wait. Do Deng Xiaoping to the stage.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
So that it is very contrasty, and you're right. And and I didn't notice. I did notice this because I was trying to get clips, and I'm thinking, in fact, I could have clipped this even more tightly and with different stuff.
I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong.
But I know what I noticed when I was getting the clips. I didn't pick up on it, but I didn't realize it was the presentation itself that was so bad. Not the material.
Yeah, the material is pretty good.
But once you pointed it out,
it's hard.
This guy is a monotone loser. Blah 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 blah. It's no good, and and I think the NewsHour, PBS's NewsHour, is getting more like this. And I say that because now that you mention it, there's a report later in the show on something else, which I don't know if I clipped it or not. It's the same thing.
So do you think
boring guy? He's got no modulation whatsoever.
Now, do you think this is a style they like, or is this intentional so that they can have some cover saying, like the way I see it, is we reported on it, just no one heard it because they zoned out within 2 seconds.
No, they can't. No, I think it's a style they like.
Wow, it's so lame.
I think it's and I don't know why they like it and where it's coming from.
Yeah. It's also from, actually, if the mainstream media already hijacked by Chinese interests, they should just start presenting like Chinese TV. That's fun. They sing it a little bit
that's
more.
Well, no, you're thinking of the Korean TV.
I'll take it. TV. I'll take Korean. It doesn't matter.
I watch Chinese TV a lot. At least our version, CGTV, whatever it's called. China's Greater Network and Network Television, CGNT.
Yeah.
They have a lot of monotones on there. There's one woman who's considered, I think, the best of the interviewers, and she's pretty bad in terms of the monotone presentation. It's possible that they're already this may all be Chinese influenced here on the PBS. It wouldn't surprise me. Let's put it that way. Let's play clip 3.
Many other countries share our concerns about China, the challenges that it poses to international law and order.
Okay, stop. I got to set this clip up.
All right.
So clip 3 is this went on for a long time. They brought a couple of people on. An old State Department hack who worked for. I think her name is Thornton. She worked for, I think she came out of the Obama administration, but she was kind of neutral, so they kept her on as an assistant secretary, and they were going to bump her up after, and Tillerson kept her on. I like her.
Okay.
So Tillerson keeps her on, and she is, she's a real dud. And Tillerson keeps her on, and when Tillerson goes, they're going to bump her up, because Trump's thing is, he puts these people in positions, and when they get rid of one of them, they just bump the next one up.
Yeah, just temporary. They become acting for a while.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's real easy to put, like there's a problem, like the DHS now, we're getting some props and pushback. It's acting. We'll get a new guy.
Yeah. No, it's something of a Trumpian scam. He does a good job of it.
It's a style, yeah.
So, it's a management style. So they put this woman in, they're going to bump her up because Tillerson quit, and is irked because he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it was Trump's fault. And so she's going to be bumped up, and they made it. It was actually Rubio that's the main cause the stink. No, this woman is not going anywhere because it turns out, according to Rubio and the rest of the conservative Republicans, she's just pro-China.
And the monkey comes out of the sleeve.
And so that was the end of her. And so she got booted, but she bring her on to this. And then and she's counter to a guy. I think his name is Chang. He's an author, and he's a Chinese. Lived in China for 20 years.
Gordon Chang. I have a clip of him, too.
Gordon Chang is great.
Yeah.
And he's not putting up with any crap. So here she is. They're doing the back and forth, and she's going on and kind of hinting this Trump's fault. And, this is unprecedented. We're doing anything like this. And then Chang just lets her have it.
Many other countries share our concerns about China, the challenges that it poses to international law and order and to our economic competitiveness. But this kind of action gives the impression of recklessness, and it's not really clear to me what it accomplishes.
Gordon Chang, recklessness and not clear what it accomplishes. Do you believe the closure was in U.S. interests?
Yeah, I certainly believe that this was the right thing to do. The State Department talked about protecting U.S. intellectual property, and the Houston consulate is known as a hub for espionage. We've been talking to China about hacking and all the rest of these things for about 3 decades, and yet we haven't gotten anywhere. We had the agreement with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in September 2015 for countries not to hack each other for commercial purposes. We had the Section 301 tariffs that were supposed to be a remedy for the theft of U.S. intellectual property. But China has continued to steal U.S. IP in the hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Yes, you could say this is unfortunate, closing the consulate, but we had to do something to try to get China to stop this dangerous activity.
A buddy of mine who works at an accountancy, the Xerox machine, I'll just say generically because I don't think it was a Xerox, but the copier broke. And they do a lot of copying in law offices and accountants' offices. And he called tech support and was connected to a Chinese help desk. And I'm thinking to myself, these things are plugged in. Who the hell knows what's being copied out? There's so much stuff.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, why wouldn't it work? I mean, networked copy machines are standard fare now.
Well, the copy machine is basically a scanner.
Yeah.
There's old-fashioned one. If you go back to the original Xerox, you could say, well, it's kind of a scanner, but it's not the kind of scanner that we have today.
Yeah.
But it scans and then makes a copy. And the scan could easily be sent down the wires.
Well, there's even cables that have little bits of firmware in it, apparently, that can capture stuff and send it off to nefarious IP addresses. There's a lot of espionage going on. But, of course, we also do have Gordon Chang. There's a number of Chinese dissidents who are clearly, working with Trump. I think Steve Bannon is working for some, one of these Chinese billionaires who runs some other anti-China television network. And he'll create his movies, what he calls a movie, like a YouTube movie. China bad. Oh, actually, he only says CCP. It's not the Chinese people. And I don't give all the Chinese people a pass anymore. You got the internet. Come on. Get on the stick. Help us out. You want to hear what Gordon Chang says in my clip?
Yeah, I'd love to. He's great.
Well, the State Department said the reason it was shut is because it was involved in intellectual property theft, and they also wanted to protect the information of U.S. individuals. Also, there are stories that this consulate had links with protest groups in the United States providing financial and logistical support. That's unconfirmed, but what is confirmed is that the Chinese Foreign Ministry and the Communist Party's Global Times have been engaged in a malicious disinformation campaign, deliberately stoking racial tensions in the U.S., and U.S. Customs has seized items coming from China this year that would be very handy for protesters.
Well, now, unconfirmed, but
like what?
I don't know. I have maybe helmets and gear, stuff like that. They always seem to have interesting gear. Bricks, Chinese bricks, maybe.
Chinese bricks.
So it's not just the consulate in Houston that is a problem. It seems we have an issue in San Francisco as well.
This investigation stems from a move by the Trump administration earlier this year to go after researchers who are here in the United States on student visas but have proven ties to the Chinese military. This woman named Zhuang Tang was a researcher at UC Davis. Her visa application stated that she never served in the military, but the FBI claims an investigation revealed pictures of her in a type of uniform from the People's Liberation Army. A further search at her home allegedly revealed evidence on her electronics of her affiliation, according to the FBI. And they say that on June 20th, she went into the Chinese consulate in San Francisco, where she has been ever since. 2 more students were named in the court documents. Cheng Song was charged with visa fraud. She researched neurology at Stanford University. Her 2018 visa application claimed that she ended military service in 2011, but the FBI says that she is in fact a PLA member. And Xing Wang was a researcher at UCSF. During an interview on June 7th, he admitted to being an active duty member in the PLA. They claim that he was instructed by his supervisor in China to copy the layout of the UCSF lab to replicate it when they got back home, and that his devices found studies from UCSF that they allege he planned to share with his PLA lab. This news comes as the Chinese consulate over in Houston, Texas, was ordered to close by the Trump administration today. Live in the newsroom, Ella Sugimonian, Kron 4 News.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
They're here. They're spying on us. And yet there doesn't seem to be, oh no, Russia. Roger Stone.
That's a great story. I'm going to give you a clip of the day because that was unknown to me.
Oh, thank you. And it's your backyard.
I know. I'm embarrassed.
Nah, you don't have to be that embarrassed.
Why would they cover it here?
That would be crazy. Russia, Trump, Orange Man bad. We all know that. I did pick up an edit of Pompeo's speech about China's asshole in UK. It's about a minute and a half, and just good to hear him reiterating the points as the all of government and hopeful. They wish for the all of society effort moves forward to expose China.
We, of course, began with the challenge presented by the Chinese Communist Party and the COVID-19 virus that originated in Wuhan, China. On behalf of the American people, I want to extend my condolences to the British people from your losses from this preventable pandemic. The CCP's exploitation of this disaster to further its own interests has been disgraceful. Rather than helping the world, General Secretary Xi has shown the world the party's true face. We talked about how we've seen Hong Kong's freedoms crushed. We've watched the CCP bully its neighbors, militarize features in the South China Sea, and instigate a deadly confrontation with India. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the British government for its principled responses to these challenges. You've made a sovereign decision to ban Huawei from future 5G networks. You've joined other free nations to condemn China's broken promises on the Sino-British Treaty. You generously opened your doors to Hong Kongers who seek nothing more than fleeing just for some freedom. And yesterday you suspended your extradition treaty and extended your arms embargo on China to Hong Kong itself. We support those sovereign choices. We think well done. I'll meet later today with Hong Kong democracy advocate Nathan Law and Sir Chris Patten, the last governor of Hong Kong. I'm sure those will be eye-opening and important discussions too. Dominic mentioned the free trade discussions. We've completed 2 rounds, more work to do. A 3rd round scheduled for later this month. It is a primary focus of the United States to see if we can make progress on this and bring this to a closure just as quickly as possible. I spoke with the Prime Minister this morning about this, and I hope that we can get it finalized before too long.
China is asshole.
Yep, the message is very clear. And just to make everything crazier with, and they're very consistent, the Chinese virus, they're not even saying Chinese coronavirus, just the Chinese virus. I'm reading here in front of me from PubMed, which is the National Institute of Health publication website. And I'm not sure how this is vetted or any of it. From the Journal of Biological Regulators and Homeostatic Agents, a study and research. Are you ready for it? You may want to sit down. I'll read the abstract verbatim. In this research, we show that 5G millimeter waves could be absorbed by dermatologic cells acting like antennas, transfer to other cells, and play the main role in producing coronaviruses in biological cells.
What?
Yeah. This has got to be a spoof. How did they get this in here?
This has got to be a spoof.
This is so good. I mean, it is on the NIH.gov website. I'm sure of.
So you got the right. You're not spoofed on the website.
No, it's not spoofed on the website. So it goes on to say DNA is built from charged electrons and atoms that has an inductor-like structure. The structure could be divided into linear, toroid, and round inductors. Yeah, okay, I'm there. Inductors interact with external electromagnetic waves, move and produce some extra waves within the cells. I don't like that, some extra waves. What is that? The shape of these waves are similar to shapes of hexagonal and pentagonal bases of their DNA source.
Something's dubious about this.
These bases could join to each other and form virus-like structures such as coronavirus. Well, it is true. We do create our own coronaviruses. To produce these viruses within a cell, it's necessary that the wavelength of the external waves be shorter than the size of the cell. Thus, 5G millimeter waves could be good candidates for applying in constructing virus-like structures such as COVID-19 within cells. I'm confused. How can this be? This is
Put that aside. We'll work on it.
That's nuts.
We have listeners. we have producers out there that know for sure.
I mean, but it fries my brain when I see that on the. It's like, no, come on. I'd already written that one off.
Just like nih.gov.onion.com.
I kind of looked for that.
It's not even the Onion anymore. Ever since the Onion got taken over by Jezebel.
Oh, really? Did they buy it?
It's in that same group. Yeah. So now it's the Babylon Bee. If you want humor, you got to go to the Babylon Bee. The Onion's no good.
Oh, Babylon Bee is fantastic. Hey, there's one thing. A note that I got from Sirloin. The wife and I have noticed a very strange occurrence. My wife likes to get flower seeds off the net. That's where I get my seeds too. They all seem to come from China. Recently, the people in the gardening forums, pay attention, trolls, the people in the gardening forums we are in have been receiving small packets from China. None of these people have ordered anything. They just show up. They are marked earrings, but have some kind of seeds in them. We have not received any yet, but being that we are kind of at war with China, I'm a tad concerned as to this offering of free seeds marked as jewelry. I wonder if any other producers have seen this. What could that be?
Wow.
That's kind of dubious. I wonder what it is. Maybe it's poppy seeds. I don't know. What could it be? Earrings. I wonder why they say earrings.
It's code.
Yeah, of course it's code. But why?
But what's the...
It's a crazy world. I'm telling you. Crazy things going on. Crazy. See what else.
I mean, we get a lot of seed catalogs, but these people grow their own seeds. I mean, we can grow seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Why are seeds coming from China unless you're growing some exotic plants that you can't get here?
I don't know. You'd probably just order them from an American site, and they're just sourcing them from China. I don't know. I wouldn't be my place to get seeds from, honestly. I'd be like, maybe not.
Well, they're big. China is not a slouch agricultural country.
No.
That's for sure.
No, they know what they're doing. Yes. Odd, isn't it?
There's something earlier you said, I'm still pondering it, which is, are the Chinese so uncreative that to build a college research lab, they have to copy one of ours, the one in Davis or wherever it is? I mean, that was the report that the woman, the PR.
They copy everything. They don't. The implication is they don't have an original thought.
Yeah, I mean that's the implication, but it's not true.
No, it's certainly not true. But maybe they skimp around. Let us do the hard stuff.
Just maybe low self-esteem as an entire culture. That we can't build a lab layout unless we copy.
You know what? Very possible. It's very possible that's cultural. Like that's not what we do. We copy and we recreate. That can be a culture. I believe that. If that's all you know,
it just stuns me that I don't know. I find that particular one little element to be quite peculiar. They have architects.
They got money. They got all kinds of stuff. I don't know.
They can buy the design. Maybe that the idea was they're going to make a design, but instead, maybe
here it comes.
Yeah. They could do the design from scratch, but this is cheaper. Best price.
With that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in consulate, John C. Dvorak.
Well, In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all the ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Hello, trolls. In the morning to you. Let's see how we're doing in our little troll den. Count them here. 17, 19. For what is today? Today's a Thursday? It's Thursday today?
I believe so.
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm so
no,
confused.
it's Sunday.
No, it's not Sunday. Is it Thursday? No, it's Thursday. What day is it?
Sunday.
No, it's Thursday. It's not Sunday.
Okay. If you think it's Thursday, I'm all in.
It's Thursday. Stop gaslighting me, Dvorak. You know I have a problem with this. Stop it. Yes, so that's not bad, actually. We're kind of where we need to be. That's the troll room. If you just go to Google as an experiment, I do it frequently just to make sure we haven't been delisted. You type in the words "no agenda." You type in "no agenda," man, you'll get everything. But there's no real explanation to the troll room. So where you want to go is noagendastream.com, and from No Agenda Stream, you'll be able to register and hang out in the troll room, troll on live shows, and also just troll. It's what it's for. Do I need to explain it? And a big in the morning to the artiste who brought us the artwork for episode 1261. We titled that Infodemic. We're in the middle of it. Jordan 33 returns, relatively new on the scene, knocking out some favorites. But what a dynamite piece of work. I mean, this was the Act 3, the clapboard with Fauci in the background, and it was a artistically beautiful piece. And you really dragged me into this one. It didn't take long for me to understand what you were saying, because I was kind of looking at the LMMO, Laugh My Mask Off.
Yeah, we had a good piece by Darren, who always has. Darren produces at least 2 every show,
every hour. He's just blowing this shit out.
And we had a couple of these LMMO laugh your mask off.
Yes,
emoticons or emojis. And he did one that you liked the most, and it was
it popped a lot.
It popped. In other words, it had a lot of contrast and had a nice look. But I liked this other one better because it was more creative. It had all kinds of elements, which the LMMO had one element.
It actually also popped when you realize
it turned out to pop because of the natural cropping on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list there. There's some other ones that were pretty good. Most of them, people got kind of hung up. And I'm going to tell a little artist tip right now. Nobody is going to get a winner with the noodle gun theme.
You can stop now.
You might as well just give up.
It's not working.
I've seen, attempt after attempt of making something with a noodle gun no, it's not going to happen. So just stop doing that. And on the other ones that we have here, Fauci's had, you had Fauci in the one that won. So that means Fauci's not going to be winning anything.
Probably not.
Just generally speaking, I don't know. There was a lot of that could have been used, but essentially not used. The people using some thematic stuff like the my show, our show gag. We're not going to pick those. It's just never going to happen. And that's Comic Strip Blogger doing that mostly because he hates us. And
he does not. I think he only hates you, his Slavic brother. Why don't you unblock me? Unblock me, Dvorak.
Him on Twitter.
You unblocked him
on Twitter.
You did unblock him.
So what's he complaining about?
Oh, did you block him on No Agenda Social?
Not yet.
And that's the next thing I want to promote after thanking Jordan 33 again for an outstanding piece of artwork. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. You can put your art up there, and there's a process. We pick it. Actually, I was talking I finally fulfilled the promise. I went on Nick the Rat's show. It was on last night.
He wants me to do the show someday.
Oh, yeah. You should totally do that.
Why?
It's fun. It's a very fun interview, and he asked very good questions. Not great ones, but good ones. And he was convinced that by putting red in the artwork, it was more prone to being picked. And he was pretty sure that that you were susceptible to red.
A sucker for it. Yeah.
Sucker for red in the artwork.
That's kind of the Roger Black theory of design.
What is the Roger Black theory of design?
Roger Black, the guy who did the Rolling Stone logo, among other designs.
Oh, the tongue, yeah?
No, I'm sorry, Rolling Stone magazine.
Oh, magazine, yeah.
You know, their logo. And other stuff. He's a famous designer, and he's always believed that all design should have the elements of white, black, and red, period.
Really?
And so you'll see a lot of designs that are just white, black, and red, or a lot of just black and red. It's all dominatrix colors. And so I guess it's attractive. I'm not sure.
Oh, well, we all know that orange is the only color that matters now.
Orange, but it's bad.
It's very,
I also wanted to do a call out to a new artist that because I was going to use this art for the newsletter and I decided against it, which was Banjo Manjeff, who took a Theodore Geiss
Dr. Seuss
cartoon, and he took a regular cartoon and he put masks on two of the animals. And it's on the list there. You can see it. I think it's a wonderful piece. It is derivative to a point. It may be too derivative, and knowing that
yeah, we don't want to get canceled.
I'm going to get a letter.
A letter. Yeah, we got to be careful about those things. There is a thin line where fair use bleeds.
Yeah, and we try to ride the line a little bit, but when in doubt, throw it out.
But I'll tell you, there's no one I'd rather ride the line with than you.
Wow. Well, there's no one I'd rather ride the line with.
Okay.
Than Travis Mercer.
Thank you.
In Charlotte, North Carolina.
Get me out of here. Yes. What does Travis say?
Travis says $667.77 is what he says.
Oh, okay.
ITM Gents, he's a top donor for today's show, 1267. ITM, thank you for doing the work. I have decided to become a knight in the guild. My good over evil 66777 donation gets me a seat at the table. I shall henceforth be known as Sir Tactician from the Fresh Coast. For my armor, I'll be wearing, how dare you use your privilege to assume I am white. I have done the work. Thank you to Taylor Curry. It fits perfect. I'll never know how you got it to fit just right. Can I get some scotch, Coors Light, and jerky beef at the table, please?
You betcha.
I think we already have scotch in there.
Yeah, but it's a combo. Special combo.
I have decided to welcome citizens to my pool in the South for the next Charlotte meetup. Oh, that's nice.
Cool.
Yeah, go meet up in Charlotte and go hang out at the pool. Insert a JCD. Hit it here, please. Head to the No Agenda Meetup site, noagendameetups.com for details. No douchebags, please, unless it's a friend that needs to be hit in the mouth. Get your donations in and we'll see you on 8/1. Special thanks to Sir Suspected Spook of the Sycamore Soot for his help in organizing. Spooks are good.
He organized you, apparently.
So I do not. Okay, jingles. So I so not know my lines. Never heard of it. Biden beats Biden. Yeah, I don't know if that's a jingle. But
no, it's not.
Did have it.
I don't have Biden beats Biden.
Okay,
sorry.
I could probably turn it into a jingle someday, but we don't have it. These are just clips. I mean, you can't call us for clips. That's a clip.
Yeah.
Trump aroused. I think we do have that.
Yep,
Biden the whole load for sure, and I can't wait.
Yeah. And then some goat karma. We got it.
It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
We can't wait. We're doing it now. We can't wait. We'll show you how. Obama! Can't wait.
You've got karma.
Wow, I like the We Can't Wait one. I haven't heard that for
long time.
Years.
I found it when prepping. You know.
Wow.
I prep.
Play it again. Just play it again for me.
Sure, baby. No problem. Here we go.
We can't.
Oops. This is the one you want.
We can't wait. We're doing it now. We can't wait. We'll show you how. Obama!
Nothing like Reverend Manning showing up for a cameo. Gotta love it. All right.
Sir Caleb, the lavender blossoms, our buddy in Northville, Michigan, $420.27. Sending some love your way. JC, yes, I did. I got the honey package. The honey looks good. Bought lots of bottles of stuff. Thank you. Thinking about sending you a little homemade wine soon, but I hear you, John, quit drinking.
What?
So maybe I'll send it to Adam.
What? Did you quit? You didn't quit drinking.
I did. I usually quit every night.
Okay.
And then go to bed.
Yeah, stay organic, says Sir Cal of Lavender Blossoms. Thank you very much, and love the coded message 4227.
4227. Oscar Korsten in Rotterdam, Holland, 333.33. I'm finally finishing my third trip around the sun and will turn 33. I always get a kick out of people that are turning 33.
Yep.
This Friday. I couldn't think of a better birthday gift to myself and producers alike than a contribution to the show. I think this is wise. It has been a great ride so far, and I'm wishing for many more years of infotainment to come. I am seeing the magic numbers appear everywhere around me. I knew I had to donate. Driving 33.3 kilometers an hour at exactly 33.3 kilometers into my cycling trip for the third time in a row, for example, you cannot make these things up. You can actually make them up.
You can, but it sounds unlikely.
Since this is my first contribution, please de-douche me.
Mm-hmm.
You've been de-douched.
And call out Hans his sink as a douchebag. In honor of the great Kaylee, I would like to end my message with a question for you. Since the saying goes, quote unquote, who controls the past controls the future, there's nothing more to ask then. What is your agenda? I can tell you.
Okay.
The agenda is to have no agenda.
Cop out.
Please provide the world, producers and douchebags alike, and all the small businesses I work at with some sweet karma with a goat twist.
You've got karma.
Quickly dropping to associate executive producer with Brian McDonough in Coppell, Texas, 220. Or is it Coppell? I don't know.
I think it's Coppell.
Hello, gents. Love the show. Thanks to the show, my amygdala remains an acceptable size, and I continue to point out the bias in the M5M to the wife as appropriate. My Mimi once said, if you ever call me the wife, I'll shoot you.
Okay. Noted.
Inroads are being made. In my last donation, I requested bowling karma for my human resource for a bowling tournament in Vegas last February. It was effective. He averaged 202 over 15 games, which is pro level.
Really?
In an outstanding showing, and finished second in the under 12. He's under 12.
Under 12?
That's nice.
Is it still regulation length? Is everything the same?
Yeah, no, it's the same game. I was bowling when I was 12.
I know. That's why I asked you. You have your own balls.
I do. I have my own balls, like most people should have their own balls. Since then, he has bowled a 289, and that's nice. So he hasn't hit the 3. He'll hit a 300 if he's this good. Wow, and this is the one that gets me for an 11-year-old or however old he is. He shot an 8-13 3-game series in a league. That's unbelievable, by the way. I've never shot an 8-13, and I know very few people. I mean, I know very few people. Shooting 800 in a 3-game series is quite remarkable.
Wow.
Of course, nowadays with the balls have got weights in them. They're different than when I was a kid. We actually had real. It had to be a solid ball. It couldn't be.
Oh, so you can have a rigged ball?
Yeah, the kind of rigged balls that used to be illegal are legal now.
Yeah. Wow. Okay,
But
it doesn't matter. I mean, he's an 11-year-old. He's an 11-year-old. This is crazy.
Beside the point. I don't care.
Yeah.
Shooting an 8-13 is nothing trivial. He was playing. By the way, I don't think anyone's officially shot a 900
ever.
No, I don't think it's. You have to shoot 3 perfect games in a row. It's almost impossible. He was planning on doing more tournaments, but most every event was canceled due to the Rona. Unless he's able to compete this weekend in Nashville in this donation of $220, which, if he were to average that for the upcoming tournament, should be enough to, I would think, to win what would be his last competition in this age group. And so I humbly request bowling karma for my human resource. Okay?
Wow, that's a great story. And what a great kid. No Agenda Nation. No Agenda Nation, man. We rock. We got the best people.
You've got karma.
Of course, the kids.
I'd go practice up and get my game back up to something decent, and I'd want to play him someday.
Why don't you do that? I'd love to go bowling. I never think about it, but you've got balls, everything. You know how to do it. You know where to go.
Yeah, you should get some balls, Adam. They don't cost that much. a good ball. I think you get I don't know what the current prices are, but I think you get a good ball and you can have it weighted so it hooks a lot. Probably for, I don't know, under $100, surely.
Oh, okay. And a bag. I need a ball bag.
You need a bag, and you need, most importantly, you need shoes.
Shoes. Oh, really? Is that the most important thing of the outfit?
Yeah, you don't want to rent somebody's stinky old shoes.
No, that's actually one of the reasons I don't like going bowling is the stanky ass shoes. Nasty.
Stephen Riley, well, they spray them. Stephen Riley, $202. Here's the second installment of my Road to Knighthood. Thanks to my daughter, Andra, and my sister, her Aunt Barb, for getting me going. No jingles, no karma.
How nice. That's a very nice family. And thank you, daughter Andra. Very, very smart.
And don't forget Barb. That's Black Knight Sir Mark Magpio in Cerritos, California. $200. John usually gets it right. Magpio. Jingles, that's true. Thanks, Obama, Dr. Kiki, and Goat Karma. Today, July 23rd, is my birthday, and I thought I'd get myself a producer credit since it falls on a show day.
Nice.
Not much else to say, but keep up the great work. Okay? Got it. And he's got some jingles, and you're going to play them.
Yes. I hadn't seen this one. I have them all. Anything else you wanted here? And go.
Just go, Karma.
Thanks, Obama.
Shut up already. Science.
You've got
him.
Karma.
James Walker in Cincinnati, OH. I made my first donation today after listing quite a while after listing. I don't know what that means.
Well, he's been listening for a while.
Listening. It says listing. Please, I thought he was just kind of leaning. I can't quite make the donation. I'm leaning too far.
Leaning the wrong way. I listed wrong.
He needs a de-doucher.
You've been de-douched.
And then he needs jobs karma and a let's get back to school. I don't suspect you have it yet. Okay.
No.
Just
jobs karma we got.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Sir Hoopensacker in Boalsburg, Pennsylvania. 200. ITM, gents. Thanks for the sanity in recent months in particular and for helping my critical thinking skills so much over the last 6 years. Once I realized I had overlooked becoming a baronet, I concocted my barony. Baron of Douchebag Daniel's Gay Mom's Gay Bunghole.
Oh, that's a business card.
But my brother in sin, Daniel, went and got himself a fake knighthood by setting up the No Agenda meetup site. Aren't we all glad I hit him in the mouth?
Yes. Wow.
He's got a little anger issues here within the family.
I can understand. And by the way, it was Lady Mimi who pushed for this knighthood. Not that it's not deserved, but the anger should totally go there.
Yeah, blame her. So I have she doesn't listen. So I have reluctantly had to reconsider my domain. Anyways, with a capital S, please accept my humble submission to the Peerage Committee to be designated Sir Hoopensacker, Baron of the Psychedelic Overmind and related dimensions. In all seriousness, it could not make me happier to have had the opportunity to support the show's continuance and global domination, and to have dragged my wife and her brother into the fold as well.
Good work.
Please grace me with some new practice location karma as I salute you with my belligerent retort to people who tell me to stay safe, stay sane, with internal love and light. Sir Hoopensucker.
You've got karma.
Beautiful.
You know, now that you mention it, Hoopensucker, I'm getting a little annoyed by the stay safe thing, too.
Who says stay safe?
Everybody.
Really?
You go to the store. Yeah, they do. In California, they do.
Oh, that's like stay safe. Like we always joke around that when you're out in the field in the hurricane. Stay safe.
Yeah, same thing. And it's just you go to the store and then you say, okay, well, how's business? Yeah, good. Okay, so long. Stay safe.
Well,
stay safe. It's like be well, or like it's just say they just say it constantly.
Okay,
everybody
all right.
says it.
So clearly,
I said it once.
Oh, this is bad. So I think I have a good retort because this is annoying and we need to stop this. Stay safe. So we'll try it out. I've received the goods. I say, okay, thank you very much, John. All right, I'm gone.
Oh, well, stay safe.
Yes, under his eye, and then just walk off.
Stay safe under his eye.
If someone says stay safe and you say yes, under his eye, or under his watch, maybe that. No, under his eye. Isn't that the one from?
You talking about, is this some religious thing?
No, that's from the Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, I see. I never watched that piece of shit.
So clearly a failed attempt here. Okay, I'm sorry.
So I would go, okay, let's do it again. This time you do it.
Okay. All right.
So, okay, I'll see you later, Adam.
Yes, okay, John. And hey, stay safe.
With Jesus.
I like that one a lot. I like it a lot. And it's just a good way to, and also it spreads the word of the Lord. So it's not a bad idea.
Somebody's word, but it's definitely a showstopper.
It's definitely a showstopper. Wow. Yeah, I hadn't considered that. Very nice.
We have our last guy here. Sir
Can we offend anybody else, possibly? Surely there's someone we can still offend.
Well, he offends his brother-in-law or whoever it is. Cirrhosis is up, and he's our last associate executive producer from Atlanta, GA. $200. ITM homies. I'd like a jobs karma request for my special lady who's making a switch.
Oh.
Masked fist bump. Cirrhosis. Okay.
All right. So does he want just a jobs? Okay, we got it.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Oh, let's try that one more time. I just want to make sure it really works. So you're leaving.
Okay. I'm out of here. See you later.
All right. Hey, and stay safe.
Okay, whatever.
Oh, you're such a douche. Come on, man. Why don't you play along? I got to cut that out of the show.
Okay, you're going to do a comeback. Okay, do one more time. Hey, okay, so long, Adam. See you later.
All right, hey, and remember, stay safe.
With Jesus.
Oh, have you done his work? No, it doesn't work. No, I think we just keep it at that. That's good. But you can also.
It's no one's gonna. There's no retort to. No one's gonna say anything.
You could say with Buddha. You could say all kinds of things. It would be kind of fun to mix it up, see which one gets the best reaction. Report back, people. Report back.
Okay, well, let me try another one.
Okay.
This time, I said this. You just say right. Yep. This is the one I think is maybe better.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'll see you later, Adam.
All right. Stay safe.
Go fuck yourself.
What did you have for breakfast? You have dropped 2 F-bombs on this show. What is happening? Did you not sleep well? Something's going on. Something's happening out there. Now I have to put an X-rated label on the show. So much extra work. Was that our last donation, or did we have one more?
No, that was it.
That was it? Okay. Yeah. Wow. Still a little shaken, not stirred from that one, but thank you very much, everybody. These are our executive producers and associate executive producers for episode 1260. What are we at? 2 of the No Agenda Show. It's fantastic to see so many people producing this, and of course, we need the financial support. Very simple. You get out of it what you put into it. So if you found any value after listening to a program, just translate it into numbers. And that's the value you assign to it. And we appreciate it. And we'll be thanking more people, $50 and above, in our second segment. Please remember that we have another show coming up on the second Thursday of the week on Sunday. For more information, go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And I did look it up. It is, in fact, actually Thursday the 23rd. So there.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order! Order! Shut up, slave! Shut up, slave!
So the EU got their deal together.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Netherlands now owns Italy. I mean,
well, that makes sense.
The way it's that crazy. The Netherlands has a lot of power, or at least they're saying they have a lot of power. We'll see in the big EU morass if it really does happen that way. But it's kind of like Rhode Island making California its bitch. It's really weird. It's a very odd situation, and there's not really a lot of money. And their total package is under $1 trillion. It's like 900 billion euros. Doesn't seem like a lot.
Not when we're dropping $1 trillion left and right.
Oh, and I think today is the big announcement of the fourth package.
Yeah.
So, and it looks like $1,200 for everybody. Woo! And extension of unemployment, but it's going to be a cap at, I thought, 40,000 or 60,000 a year. So, I don't know. It's going to be, I'm sure it'll be interesting.
Well, this is leveraging the argument for guaranteed income.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I think what you're going to do is, this won't be tomorrow or the next day, but somewhere down the road, someone's going to say, this is what happened back then. It didn't break the bank. We could do it. We should probably start thinking about it. Because something has to be done. We have to go in that direction because of the nature of the of our economic system. The fact that we got robots doing a lot of work and taking the place of people, and there's just no jobs. There's jobs even when we bring manufacturing back, which I think we're going to do as long as Trump stays in office. He'll promote it.
Yeah,
Biden wouldn't. But if we get more self-sufficient like we should have, like we've always been traditionally, there still won't be enough jobs.
No,
unless you're going to be a gardener.
Well, certainly with the amount of restaurants and bars that are closing, it'll take a while for that to cycle before some of it comes back or is taken over by new ownership. And I think it's a lot of these same disillusioned kids in their 20s who were working at those places. And then I think it's universally recognized now that a lot of them made out like bandits is not true. Made out much better than than working wage-wise with the unemployment, $600 a week, which is a sad state of affairs. I don't know. And Trump seems to. Well, I mean, he clearly is misguided if he's only looking at the stock market. I mean, the money has nowhere else to go. It really doesn't. It's just going to keep.
He loves the stock market. I don't know. He's never been considered an investor. He's a real estate guy.
All right. But it's just,
I always found that peculiar that he's so jacked up about the stock market because he's not like the guy who's in the stock market.
Well, he likes graphs. I thought he did a pretty good job of his first two COVID-19 briefings, just going up there saying death rate's almost down. We're testing a lot more. Boom, vaccine coming. All right, 2 questions. We're out. And of course, CNN is not carrying those. MSNBC does carry them, but cuts off before the questions, and Fox carries them all the way through. Fox News, of course, the white supremacist cell network. I forgot to mention that on the last show. Or this is now, we have you've seen the Ed Henry lawsuit, or you've heard about it? No, you haven't.
I know Ed Henry was.
Yeah.
I don't know the details. Okay. You obviously do. I would like to hear them.
Ed Henry is being sued for he apparently had a relationship but like a BDSM relationship with a producer or a coworker. I'm not sure, or it could be both, of course. Which appears it was consensual, but then there's all these details like she said the safe because Ed Henry's the dom. He's the dom. He was allegedly
they're in an S&M relationship.
Yes, and Ed Henry. Look at Ed Henry. That guy was the dom. He was the dominant of the two, and he would ignore safe words. And apparently, there's text messages and pictures.
This is all news to me.
Pictures.
I mean, the last time we had somebody...
Listen to me. Pictures with clothespins on genitals.
Oh, I don't want to hear the details in that granularity. I just want the general details.
Okay, so that's the general.
I don't want to hear that.
That's the general details. But then they drag.
Nobody wants to hear that. Go on.
And then Governor what's his name? Governor Cuomo wants to hear all about it. I'm sure he's probably paying attention.
Just keep on with this story.
He's all about that. So then they brought in another lawsuit, which looks pretty feeble actually, implicating that Tucker Carlson tried. You remember the liberal Sherpa who was on his show for a while, and he kind of Tucker Carlson. He make fun of her, and she would
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right. Well, anyway, she said that he had said, "Oh, I'll be in New York, and we should have dinner or come up to my hotel room." Anyway, the whole point is they're really going after Fox News and positioning the upper echelon as a white supremacist cell consisting of Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and Frau Ingraham. So,
what about what's his name? Henry.
No, Henry just kicked it all off. That got the attention because that's the whole. So they're positioning as this, but then there's this sexual harassment. 2 lawsuits, I think. It's just the whole thing is just funny. But what is more?
It couldn't happen to a better company.
This is true. What is very exciting, and I have 4 clips.
Well, before you go off on that, I do have a Tucker Carlson thing, since we're talking about it.
Okay. Yes.
I don't want to have to go back to it.
Nope.
Tucker Carlson gave a little speech at the end, which pretty much explains what everything's about. This is Tucker's lament about what's going on with the New York Times.
One more thing before we go tonight. Last week, the New York Times began working on a story about where my family and I live. As a matter of journalism, there is no conceivable justification for a story like that. The paper is not alleging we've done anything wrong, and we haven't. We pay our taxes, we like our neighbors, we've never had a dispute with anyone. So why is the New York Times doing a story on the location of my family's house? Well, you know why. To hurt us. To injure my wife and kids so that I will shut up and stop disagreeing with them. They believe in force. We've learned that. 2 years ago, a left-wing journalist publicized our home address in Washington. A group of screaming Antifa lunatics showed up while I was at work. They vandalized our home. They threatened my wife. She called 911 while hiding in a closet. A few weeks later, they showed up again at our house. For the next year, they sent letters to our home threatening to kill us. We tried to ignore it. It felt cowardly to sell our home and leave. We'd raised our kids there in the neighborhood, and we loved it. But in the end, that's what we did. We have 4 children. It just wasn't worth it. But the New York Times followed us. The paper has assigned a political activist called Murray Carpenter to write a story about where we are now. They've hired a photographer called Tristan Spinsky to take pictures. Their story about where we live is slated to run in the paper this week. Editors there know exactly what will happen to my family when it does run. I called them today and I told them, but they didn't care. They hate my politics. They want this show off the air. If one of my children gets hurt because of a story they wrote, they won't consider it collateral damage. They know it's the whole point of the exercise, to inflict pain on our family, to terrorize us, to control what we say. That's the kind of people they are. They'll deny this, of course. They'll claim it's just journalism, just the facts. Really?
By the way, I just need to stop this for a second. He has built a studio in his house, and he has a noisy-ass air conditioner. We noticed this a while back. It's been irritating the crap out of me because he's in D.C. with his, or wherever he is with his house. It's too hot, and he built a studio, and there's an air conditioner, and it sounds like crap.
Us to control what we say. That's the kind of people they are. They'll deny this, of course. They'll claim it's just journalism, just the facts. Really? So how would Murray Carpenter and his photographer Tristan Spinsky feel if we told you where they live, if we put pictures of their homes on the air? What if we publicized the home address of every one of the soulless robot editors at the New York Times who assigned and managed this incitement to violence against my family? What about the media editor, Jim Windolf? We could do that. We know who they are. Would that qualify as journalism? We doubt they'd consider it journalism. They'd call it criminal behavior if we did it. And that tells you everything.
Well, it's all over for him. It's obviously over. He has no editorial support, no production support. His topics are kind of him talking about stuff, rehashed, not interesting, no in-studio guests because he has a green screen in his basement. He's done. He's done. I think they will finally be able to cancel him unless he figures out a way to make value for value work or anything like that, and he gets his spark back because he's also not interesting to watch. I don't know if you've watched him in the last couple of weeks, but it's not interesting.
That's the last time I watched was this. But yes, I'm not going to argue this, but I will. Now I'm fascinated by the sound thing that you bitched about, and I realize you have complained about it before. Why doesn't they bring it? You know, a good sound engineer can filter that out.
Witness the No Agenda show. You've got air conditioning. You've got people working on the street. I have
no air conditioning.
You've got the gimp in the basement. Come on.
Well, we got the guys digging outside. We have we got. You know, I'm basically in a large room that could have echo.
Mm-hmm.
The trains go by, and you hear the honking. And there's one coming now. Yeah. Well, yeah, you could probably filter out the sound yourself. Yes. I'm just saying there are people that do this for a living.
Yeah, it's very, very low grade.
But now that unfortunately, once you mention that, just by interrupting the clip,
you can't get away from it.
That's all I could hear.
I'm sorry. You can't get away from it. But they didn't dox him. That didn't happen. They said, we were never planning on that. So it was a good defensive move. But when you're down at that level, it's over. I'm sorry. And, you know, the Fox kid is donating to Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's over.
You know, the Murdoch kid.
And the Fox kid's wife works for the Hillary folks.
Yeah, the Fox kids, they're just not going to keep Tucker Carlson around. And I think, you know, Sean Hannity, he's so boring. That doesn't matter. No one cares. Ingraham, I think, is on deck. She's bound to get canceled. I think she's on the way out. Yeah,
she's a rough customer. Yeah, but yeah, Tucker's got to go. I mean, if you're going to take these guys out, I'm James Murdoch.
Mm-hmm.
I took over from the old man. The old man was nuts. You know, they got all these right wingers. His whole theory was great, but you know, I mean, the whole original theory from Roger Ailes was great to get this whole large market, but we already got that market. Now we don't have to keep it. I mean, we're established. We can play with the big boys in their own, you know, in their own game. We can be more objective. We can get rid of some of this slant. We can get rid of some of the slant, which I don't like. I'm James Murdoch. I'm a big Biden supporter. I don't like the slant. So let's get rid of who's the big slanters. You got your three. And there's a few other laggards in there, you know, the five, and, you know, Greg Gutfeld.
I like
but those
Gutfeld.
guys are just
they're just comedians.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of comics. But we got to get, what's the order? We got to get rid of people. We got to get rid of Tucker, number one.
Oh, I know where they're going to put him. I know what they've offered him. It's obvious. They've offered him just the moon, anything he wants, as long as it's on the Fox Nation app. You know, that's where they keep everybody. They got Tammy. What's her name? Tammy's on the Fox Nation app.
Tammy Bruce,
and her protege Lisa Booth. She's on the Fox Nation app. That's where they put Bongino. They park everybody there. And with the hope that maybe it'll catch on, because I think it's subscription, the hope that it'll catch on and, you know, they'll be able to make it work that way. I think that's their strategy. And then just make it all white bread dumb on, or, you know, promote other people. Maybe Lisa Booth takes over for Tucker. Something uninteresting. It's over. What's not over, said the Segway King, is the chance that we will indeed in our lifetime witness the unsealing of thousands of sealed indictments. And we have new news from the front. Joe DeGenoa has some interesting info about the sequence of the Durham report.
So we should see a report by the end of the summer. Are you hopeful?
I am. I'm a little surprised by the notion that John Durham is going to publish a report before filing criminal charges. That's really fascinating to me. When I was an independent counsel of the United States investigating the Clinton passport scandal.
I love how that's his only credibility. I was part of the, Watergate. Whitewater. The passport scandal. Yeah, Clinton impeachment. I was there.
I decided whether or not to bring charges. Then I filed my report. That's the usual sequence. So it's pretty obvious. And that was actually a very surprising bit of public information from Ferry Kupek. So apparently the plan is to issue a public report about the nature of the coup d'etat and what went into it before criminal charges are filed. That's going to set up an interesting series of legal challenges to any charges that are brought later by suggesting that the report prejudiced potential jurors. But I'm all for it. I hope they issue the report as quickly as possible and that criminal charges follow thereafter.
There's Joe DeGenoa, how the mighty have fallen. He now calls in on an AM talk show in DC.
On a phone.
Yeah, when he. However,
that's just the worst.
There was an all-of-government approach to this. They had people out. They had people spreading the message. Here's former U.S. Attorney Guy Lewis.
I think we will see in the next 30 days federal criminal indictments coming out of the Durham investigation. I think it'll be an overarching conspiracy that charges obstruction of justice. It charges submitting false information to the FISA court, false information during the course of the investigation, and frankly, I think you're going to see, as has been suggested by the Attorney General, charges relating to illegal spying during the course of the Trump campaign. Look, in my experience, having done this almost 20 years as a prosecutor and now almost 20 years as a defense lawyer, I've never seen anything like it. Truly. And I've was participating in one of the largest espionage investigations here in the country when we did it in South Florida a few years ago as I was U.S. Attorney. This is going to be something we've never seen before.
And I give this guy a pass for saying, look, because he followed up by saying, I've never seen anything like it. So I give him a little pass on that transition.
It's cute with your analysis there. Now,
there's one more. Mark Meadows. Okay. Mark Meadows, is he not the current chief of staff?
No, he's the former chief of staff.
Former chief of staff. So
he was the acting chief of staff.
Another one of those acting guys. Well, he went on. Now you know that it's an all-of-government approach. He went on the Sunday show with the original money honey, Maria Bartiromo.
Your reaction to what we know now, and when are we going to hear from John Durham? Will there be indictments, sir?
Well, I think the American people expect indictments. I know I expect indictments based on the evidence I've seen. Lindsey Graham did a good job in getting that out. We know that they not only knew that there wasn't a case, but they continued to investigate and spy, and yes, I use the word spy, on Trump campaign officials, and actually even doing things when this president was sworn in and after that, and doing it in an inappropriate manner. You're going to see a couple of other documents come out in the coming days that will suggest that not only was the campaign spied on, but the FBI did not act appropriately as they were investigating. It's all starting to come unravel, and I tell you, it's time that people go to jail and people are indicted.
Maria can hardly believe it.
It's just unbelievable that for 3 years this president was investigated and investigated again over something that wasn't even true, and the entire country was up in arms about collusion. I mean, I don't hear anything on the other side of the aisle about this wrongdoing, which is just stunning to me.
Well, it is stunning, and here's the interesting thing is not only that it wasn't true, the problem is they knew it wasn't true. And when you know something is not true and you continue the investigation, that's collusion. That's the kind of thing that we must stop, and that's where we need to hold people accountable.
Yeah, I don't think he's a lawyer. But
I can't remember his name now. This guy's already fading from view. The ex-congressman. He's from the South somewhere. He's long. He got the long hair with always the short cropped blonde hair at the top.
Oh, Trey Gowdy?
Trey Gowdy. I think we had a clip of Trey Gowdy or one of these types of ex-guys and talking about this exact investigation. And at the end, and we had the clip, and you'll never find it because I don't know how it was labeled. But the conclusion was nobody's getting indicted about nothing.
Was that his conclusion? I'm looking.
That's what his conclusion was. He says nobody's getting indicted. There's not going to be no indictments, and that's why the Genoa was like, all of a sudden he's stunned that there's no indictments before the report because that's the normal process.
Right.
That's because there's going to be no indictments. Period.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're probably right. So sad.
Yeah, this is just not. It's going to be a report's going to be scathing. Oh, they could have done this better. They were wrong to do this. They were wrong to do that, and they should have been disciplinary action.
No. There has to be one. It won't work. They got one person.
Zero.
One.
This is our bet. That's you go. I got none. You got one.
One or more.
Well, fine. If it's 20, I'd be happy. Okay. I'm not happy about the idea there's going to be none, which is what I'm saying. There'll be none.
If there was to be one, just a little thought exercise, who would we choose to be?
I would choose Brennan.
Yeah, that would be my choice, too. That would be my choice. Yeah. And we should, give him the chair or something.
It should be electrocuted, yes.
That'd be cool. And make Clapper pull the switch. Something like that.
Yeah. On his buddy.
Yeah. Okay.
Live with that, Clapper.
Rick Wilson.
God.
He's on your side of this.
And another piece of news that I am aware of that the White House is extremely unhappy about. Barr told the White House sometime in the last 7 to 10 days that the famous Durham report is not coming.
He's gone that far.
It's not coming at all. It's not even happening.
Well, I doubt it.
I don't know, man. It's Rick Wilson. He is part of the Lincoln Project. He is the guy. Did you see they fired their video editor? Did we talk about that?
No, we didn't talk about it. I know they've lost a couple of people for sexual harassment or something.
Yes,
apparently just a sleazeball operation. Yeah, I mean, Rick Wilson looks like that.
But so
does not.
Basically, they're a meme video production company with an ATM that they back up to from time to time. And the only guy that mattered who made I think the videos are good they made. I mean, that's high level. It's memey, as in M-E-M-E. It's memeified, but that guy had to go because he didn't create a safe work environment. Oh man, I was thinking of you as I was looking at the noodle gun list. Maybe we should just go down the noodle gun list for a second. Red Bull took your advice and they purged a number of high-level executives who pushed for diversity and inclusion. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean,
they took out the guys that are troublemakers.
Yes.
You got to get these companies, American companies, have got to identify and get rid of these troublemakers that are not going to harm the company.
Yep.
You can't have these people. Yeah, the Red Bull guy, the CEO, he's going to. Yeah, hopefully he'll get through it. But yeah, he did the right thing. It's what you got to do. I still say, I'm going to bring it up. I'll bring it up again and again and again. When the Evergreen students took it upon themselves to kind of take over the place, they should have identified the troublemakers and expelled them. It's not that hard to do. You can expel your kid, and send these kids packing back home saying, Mom, I got into the easiest school in Washington. I probably can't get in anything else, and I got expelled. I have to live at home now. That would be just fabulous. Expel the kids. Expel them. You can expel kids. This kind of behavior is not acceptable in a university situation. And I would do the same thing with all the universities. Should find these kids that are whining and moaning and need safe spaces and all the rest and just kick them out.
Unfortunately, we missed yet another fabulous exit strategy potential. Someone has already done it before we could come up with it. Unherd.com, UNHERD, as in the herd. And this is where you can find people who want to work who are not part of the herd. who are not woke, who just want to work. And I think that's probably, that has a future, that recruitment site. I think that's.
I agree. I would hire from them.
Yeah, pretty good idea.
I would still vet. Vetting is like okay. You
can vet.
You didn't hire them because they were this or that. No, I vetted them. I vetted them. You can vet people instead of interviewing them. Vet them.
Should we do a quick rundown the noodle gun? See what's on deck. See what's in the
all
sites.
ears.
Okay. It's apparently the racist noodle gun. I guess China is responsible for all of this. So he did unheard. Yes, doctors are now calling for the Adam's apple and Achilles tendon to be renamed because of their clearly misogynistic nature. So a little noodle gun for them.
Oh, brother.
The top ABC News executive, Barbara Fadida, she is indeed out. She got kicked out after probe into racist comments. Then, of course, we have Ed Henry. We already talked about him. Yes, the Trader Joe's packaging petition is rather interesting.
Yes, a classic.
This is, I mean, so there's different types of products that they think are cultural appropriation, or it's, here we go. Trader Ming's is used to brand the Chinese food. Trader Ming. Okay, we can't have that. So it is the Chinese noodle gun. Right off the bat, we nailed it. Arabian Joe, Middle Eastern food, is not okay.
No, not okay.
And Trader...
Yeah, it's probably because there's nobody named Joe in the Middle East, but that's beside the point.
Well, it's Arabian Joe. It's Trader Jose for
out.
And Trader Giotto. And there's also the Trader Joe-san for Japanese. This is all a problem. This all has to go. All has to go. There's your noodle gun done.
Yeah,
and
they have done nothing of the sort, by the way, we should note.
What do you mean they've done nothing of the sort?
The Trader Joe's has refused to. I had a clip on a couple of shows ago.
Oh, they refused to do it?
Trader Joe. This was all started in the Bay Area by a local girl. She's 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish you could find the clip.
I have the clip. It's a 13-second clip. Is that possible?
It's possible. Play it.
Let's listen to it.
Trader Joe has died. Joe Cullum was 89. He opened his first...
Oh, no, that's really old.
That's not it.
That's very old. That's not the clip. No.
No, this was like a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
So the 17-year-old high schooler went into Trader Joe's, and she just got offended.
Right.
And so she started a petition to stop this racist names.
Yeah.
You know, she's kind of just completely, as far as I'm concerned, unemployable for the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
Started a petition, got 3,000 people to sign it, and it became a big national news story. The Trader Joe's has not done jack shit. They're not going to do this.
Oh, no, they said that they did. They would.
I haven't heard that they did anything.
Yeah, Trader Joe's agrees, to change. I'm pretty sure that they did. I'm sure they buckled. Trader Joe's agrees to change its name to Trader Cowardly Eunuch. No, that's not the story. There's the B. We got the B. I was sure that he had said that they would do it. Yes.
No.
Trader Joe's will eliminate ethnic product names. Here we go. They buckled to it. Yeah, the 2-week-old petition, only 2,500 signatures.
Oh, I was off by 500.
Yes, the 17-year-old. There's your Brionis Bedell. And Trader Joe said this past Monday, decided to use only the Trader Joe's name on its product several years ago. Since then, has been the process of weak. Oh, we just hadn't gotten around to relabeling everything. Oh my God. Ew, you've got noodle goo all over your face. We decided we were already on board. We just had the old products. Oh, please. What a sleazy.
Germans.
Actually, yes, it is the Aldi's. We have the voice actors. That just continues. Oh, the Lego helicopter kit was supposed to come out. Everyone was really excited about it. It's the V-22 Osprey helicopter, which is an Augusta, Bell Augusta project. The one that has it's a plane that can take off vertically like a helicopter. But they have canceled it due to pressure. People wanted Love Bricks Hate War is the group's website. Who went against this? Love Bricks Hate. Oh, here's a video. Let's see if they have
it. In August, LEGO will release its new Technic set, Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey. For the first time in the company's history, it's going to release a model of military. Is
this a Chinese thing?
Deployed
I can't hear it.
Wars.
Oh, you can't hear it at all?
For that reason, LEGO is
I can, but it's too low.
Yeah, it's very low. It's a horrible story, but it's with a Chinese accented voiceover. Who knows? Everywhere.
Chinese must be getting a kick out of this.
Yeah, they must be.
That would be. Look at these idiots.
Edmonton football team discontinues the use of the name Eskimos. The Edmonton Eskimos is no more. And high on the cancel list, and this was very odd, and I was kind of waiting for it to show up because I knew he had done this episode. Rogan did an interview with a woman who wrote this book. Her name is Abigail Schreier, and the book is Irreversible Damage, the Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters. Well, you can only imagine that kicked up some shit. Of course, now that Joe has, as we say, has his sheep on dry land, he felt pretty bold. Every other podcast I understand in the LA area rejected. Were afraid to have her on. Would not take her to discuss the book. And now Men's Health. The big article. Joe Rogan is spreading transphobic hate speech and it's putting lives in danger. And
these are those editors that need to be fired.
Yes. And I have to say, I listened to the whole episode, and we've talked about this phenomenon and what she basically she says she's not anti-trans. She says, of course, some of her best friends are trans, obviously. She says there's an issue right now, very similar to putting if you have one or two girls who are bulimic or anorexic, and you have a couple girls in a group, they get this kind of contagion. And then more will become anorexic or bulimic. And she says
it's called mass hysteria, and it happens to girls in high school a lot.
Yes. So she's saying that there is quite a mass hysteria among girls in high schools who are all getting together and deciding to become trans. And I got a little clip from this interview.
Some sort of, if you just step in now and start injecting this body with male hormones, this is going to fix all your problems. But yet it's really popular to do that.
It's really popular. These girls are getting it on their own diagnosis. So they're just going in and self-diagnosing. Nobody questions it. We now have informed consent, which means you walk into Planned Parenthood, you sign a waiver, you decide you have gender dysphoria, you walk out that day with testosterone.
Planned Parenthood is doing this?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest distributors.
So you don't have to have some sort of a long, some transitional therapy session with... You
can get your breast removed with no therapist note.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you could be a confused 18-year-old girl and walk into a Planned Parenthood self-diagnosing with no therapy at all, and they'll prescribe testosterone and you can get your breast removed?
Absolutely. You sign a form.
Actually, you can't get your breast removed at Planned Parenthood. She clarified that later, but that's, there you go.
Joe blew it there.
Yeah.
I thought Joe made a mistake in his interviewing.
Tell me.
He should have used 15-year-old instead of 18-year-old to make it more dramatic.
Yes. I don't think he was going for drama. I think he was actually shocked.
He was shocked.
Actually shocked.
I know.
It's a very interesting interview, and it's not, and that's the thing.
By the way,
yeah,
a law was just passed in California that allows even more of this. So you can go to if you're a kid, you could be a 12-year-old and go and have all kinds of stuff done behind your parents' back.
And the whole interview is worth listening to, because she says the big problem, and this kind of folds back to everything we're talking about, is that some parents are seeing this and saying, wow, man, this doesn't feel like my daughter. This has got to be something, this is maybe something else.
Mom.
Well, the problem is that they are so afraid to do anything or say anything or even question it, because of, this. If you as a parent say, I question this, boom, you might as well move. You might as well go live in Tucker Carlson's basement.
Oh, yeah, they'll take the kid away.
Yes. In California, I think that's a very distinct possibility. So it's just like, wow. Anyway, I thought it was cool he put her on. They're trying to cancel.
Well, yeah, that's anyone listening to this show. This is the last you'll hear of it.
What?
Unless
this
we
book?
or any of it. Yeah. Unless we bring it up again or Joe Rogan brings it up again, you will not hear.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Any of this because it's I don't know why you won't hear it, but you won't. It's because it's against the agenda. It goes against the agenda.
It does. Here's I was talking with producer Dave Jones, who actually helped me with some of the Marxist stuff. We're thinking of there should be a list, perhaps, of woke infrastructure. It appears there's certain things that are permissible because the whoever's woke, they need it. So, for instance, Joe Rogan, if they really hate Joe Rogan for being transphobic and spreading dangerous transphobic hate, why are they not going after Spotify? And I think the answer is because they use it. Why are they not going after Apple? Well, first of all, it's probably a Chinese angle that's stopping them, but I think they use it. There are things that the mob uses that somehow become immune for destruction. And I think that's the infrastructure.
Actually, it's funny you bring that up because I've thought about this too, which is the somebody, this happens with, I wish I could have the example right at the top of my head, but I don't. But the examples of where somebody's condemned for something that somebody else has been doing, but they're okay.
Yeah.
You have this situation. Well, that's the guy's he's terrible, I just put it on the other side of the extreme. Let's take Mel Gibson.
Yes,
the guy always gets work, no matter what.
Yeah.
He doesn't get. In fact, I was listening to an interview with one of the more famous screenwriters who's I'll think of his name in a second, but he was going on about this on one of the right-wing talk shows. I was listening to while driving, and he said that they asked him, "Why you're still getting work and you're like a Trump supporter?" He says, "Yeah, because I'm above." I talked about one of our producers about this because I'm above the fold. I've got lots of Emmys and awards and Oscars. He's famous. I wish I could get his name. And so I'm part of another list of people that are always employed, always employable. I don't get count. I'm not put in the other. I'm not.
Well, here's maybe a bigger example. I understand what you're saying. Jeff Bezos. On one hand, Amazon is used by all these kids. So they don't really go after Amazon, the company, and there's plenty of reasons for them to do that, certainly if you're talking about labor situation. There's enough stories out there. Instead, they go after Bezos and blame him for being rich. And if I heard one extra millennial, I would be rich myself, say, well, he just made $13 billion in one day, so fuck that guy. Who cares if they went and robbed his store, his Amazon Go store? And I said, do you realize that a stock price doesn't actually mean you like someone dumped a truck of $13 billion in your wallet? Doesn't matter. Okay, and then why not go after the Washington Post? Well, that's the truth. They're important. You see, so it's like Bezos is problematic, but his actual properties get a super pass. That's infrastructure. It's infrastructure.
That's the word.
Super pass?
Yeah.
Okay. We could use one of those ourselves.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And we do have a few people to thank, and I'm going to go get a note that's on the desk, and and you can skip the first name and read a couple while I'm doing that.
Okay, Yuri Filanov, I believe, $128, and I think Yuri, Y-U-R-I-Y, is, I think, from Australia. Let me just see. I'll just read this one. John's getting a note. This is insane. 128. This is insane. History repeats itself. Been listening to your podcast for at least a couple of months now. Cannot stop falling into some weird deja vu loop. 90% of messages produced by U.S. media outlets can be translated to Russian, and you won't be able to tell the difference whether these news are messages coming from modern U.S. or they are 100-year-old USSR propaganda. All the best to you, gentlemen. You are doing a terrific job deconstructing this shit show. Hope your country won't go the same way Soviet people went in 1917. Oh, there's some interesting cycles there, isn't there?
Yeah, well, we're not good doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
Let's go to Janice Oliver, $160 from Edmonds, Washington. And she is going to be knighted, so I think we can read her note. And it's in a card. It's on a card, and she's got, nice writing.
Well, hopefully she'll be damed gold and not knighted.
Yeah. Gold damehood. But it's kind of be knighted because she's going to be using the name Dame Knight.
Okay.
She talks about some of the things she's been listening to. She first found out about the show on Guess Whose show?
Rogan?
Adam Carolla.
Oh, really? Wow, that goes way back.
Yeah, she's an old timer on the show.
Excellent.
Producer.
All right.
I have not missed an episode since show, I guess, 7-11 or something like that. Wow. And I have noted you and Adam do show. I realize your writing's pretty, but not readable. Show prep for so many news people. Please christen me Dame Knight. I'm fine with the mutton and mead.
Okay.
And John, Mr. Dvorak, could please choose an amazing Pinot Noir for the occasion.
Oh, okay. So I will put that on at the round table. Do you have a suggestion for a Pinot?
Yes.
Okay.
Richebourg
Pinot.
From Burgundy. It's a Pinot. Noir. And that's the one she wants.
Is that expensive? Because I just have to let them know if we need to get the credit card.
It's one of the most expensive wines in the world generally. But not as expensive as Romani Conti, which I could have put on there, which is too expensive.
Well, you're thinking of the business. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm trying to save money here.
Yeah, good job.
I think I need a de-douching. Give her a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Now on to Baroness. So happy to be in this cult. Love and light. XXXOXOXO. Jan Oliver, a.k.a. Dame Knight. Okay. There you have it.
Beautiful. Love it.
Very cute note. Craig Knowlesley in Cumberland, BC, 12345.
Thank you.
Christopher Dugan in Bristol, Rhode Island, $100.33.
Uh-oh. What the fuck just happened? Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. That's not good. Oh, God. My entire computer just decided to reboot. Now it has a fucking smiley face saying getting things ready. Are you still there? Hold on. I'm not hearing you, John.
Connection.
Oh, hold on. Holy crap. My entire, every screen I had went completely black.
Yeah.
And then it almost like some kind of fresh reboot. And then I got a smiley face at the top of the screen that said, we're preparing Windows for you. And then it logged back in and everything came back and everything's the way it was and I hear you again.
Wow. Tell you got a virus or something on that thing.
No, I checked it all. Everything's clean. There's no virus. I did all the steps you told me to do.
Huh.
All right.
Well,
let's get back. Where were we?
Let me start over here.
Hold on. Let me just check where we were. Okay, hold on 1 second.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you,
Christopher Dugan. And
okay, we'll start at. If you don't mind starting again at Christopher Dugan. And
okay, I'll start.
Oops, hold on.
Bristol, Rhode Island, $100.33.
Okay, you can go from here.
Then we have Jenna D'Amico in Bellingham, Washington, $100. I should read her note because it's interesting. I want to thank you for the white fragility bit from Sunday's show. I had to read that book for my business school book club to be discussed on Tuesday. Though I was raised in a white family, I'm Korean, and I'm pretty sure I've done the work. And it's frustrating to always have to defend myself. I'm dreading the discussion because of all the SJWs in the class. But those audio clips of her are gold and will help my case.
Hey, I think we missed Christopher Dugan.
Oh, Christopher Dugan, $100.33 from Bristol, Rhode Island.
Yes, thank you.
I thought we had him there. Anonymous in New York, $100. David Sutcliffe in Idlewild, California, 100. Ian Field in Eastleigh, Hampshire, UK, or Hampshire, 100. Andrea Chenul in Munkawongo, Wisconsin.
No, it's Mukwanago. Andrea Schnul in Mukwanago. Do you just stay home and not go anywhere? I mean, it's hard if you have to introduce yourself. I'm Andrea Schnule from Mukwanago. Oh man! All right, she has a note.
She's got a note I have to read.
Yeah,
I'd like to thank you to make this donation on behalf of my smoking hot husband, Mountain Mike Brett. Just in time for his 35th birthday on July 20th. Please de-douche him.
You got it. That is so sweet, Andrea.
As we are first-time contributors and recently new listeners, they're new listeners. We love you. We love the show. Thank you for giving us yet another thing we have in common. You guys are amazing. Sincerely, Andrea.
As you will find out, Andrea, I know you're new.
Andrea.
As you will find out, the people that know Agenda together stay together. And I can also inform you that she said yes. We had Sam propose on the last show. If you recall?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she said yes.
Of course she did.
Yeah. That's what you never know, but yeah.
Well, you never know, but I'm thinking it was going to happen because it was done on the show.
Exactly.
No marriages on the show. They're just putting my foot down right in advance.
Oh.
You know, Johnny Carson used to pull that.
Oh, he didn't eat it with Tiny Tim?
Tiny Tim, yeah. And what's her name?
Although if Tiny Tim came back, we'd do him. We'd do him. We'd do that.
Well, you could do him.
Okay. All right. Onward.
Jeffrey Lund in Bar, Massachusetts, 8008.
Oh, this is
first time donor. He needs a de-douching.
No, I'm going to give him that for sure.
You've been de-douched.
And this is, in fact, a boob donation for his smoking hot wife's new boobs. Please send him some boob karma for Thursday when we get to see how they came out. I'll put that at the end for you.
Sir Robert Stotts.
Send pictures. Not really.
Sir Robert Stotts in San Diego, California, 8008.
Boob.
Sir Nick, only while they're still swollen. Sir Nicholas, Thief River Falls, Minnesota, 7777. We'll give you some simple karma at the end.
You'll get it.
Sir Rick in Arlington, Washington, 6996. Thomas Wilkinson in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, 6969. And he needs...
he turns 33 tomorrow, so you're on the list.
Another 33. Good.
Yep.
You're on the list. Sir Spud the Mighty in Marietta, Georgia, 60. Sir Loud Pipes in Charlotte, North Carolina, 5678. Alexander Green, 5555. Brian McFadden in Hampton, Virginia. 5510.
And he, what did he say there?
He's got a birthday.
No,
it'd be 52.
Let me see. No, I was talking about Alexander Green.
Oh.
He was a JRE convert, so you know what that means.
Rogan donation.
Okay. Stas Gomberg, we're going on. We're continuing at 5510. A lot of we get 5510s we never used to get.
Double nickels.
Sir Jackson, Night of the Transistors in Levelland, Texas, 5150. Sir Chris Sundberg in Mercer Island, Washington, 51. The following, Forrest Martin, 5005. Sir Andrew Benz, 5005 in Imperial, Missouri. Daniel Leboy in Bath, Michigan is 50. I thought I had a 5001 in here. 50. And he is, all the following are $50 donors, name and location. Starting with Daniel Leboy, Sir Patrick Maycom in New York City. Robert Case in Mill Spring, North Carolina. Sir Eric V.M. Barron of the Valley in Van Nuys, California.
And he asks if he can donate this for producer Carmen in Harlem and a de-douche so she can smile.
You've been de-douched.
There you go.
John Lawrence follows that with 50. Kevin Silverman in Severn, Maryland, 50. Alexa Delgado in Aptos. Derek Lawless in West Peoria, Illinois. Adrian Muller in Atascadero, California. Thomas Tollett in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Victor Vandenberg in Heersjandam.
No, pretty good. Heersjandam.
Heersjandam.
Very good.
Which is the Jan's Dam.
Mr. Jan's Dam. You got it.
Mr. Jan's Dam, yeah. The naming conventions are not that different than here.
No.
Sir Jerry Wingenroth, meanwhile, in Saugus, California, wraps it up. And I want to thank all these folks for contributing and producing Show 1262. We needed it, and we got it. We thank them all.
And we appreciate the value y'all brought to the show. And thank everybody, of course, for all of their production duties, which has just been fantastic so much. A lot of you have been home. You've been thinking, you've been writing, you've been creating, and it works well. Wait to hear the end of show mixes. Some great stuff as well. This is only possible through your production donations, and we would like you to support us again for the second Thursday on Sunday. For more information, go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And we got some karma requests. Adding a goat to it for today's special karma.
You've got karma.
It is the 23rd of July, 2020. Here's the birthday list. Andrea Schnella says happy birthday to her husband, Brett Schnella, 35, belated on the 20th of July. Oscar Corsten turns 33 tomorrow. Black Knight Sir Mark Magpio celebrates today. Geertje Richel says happy birthday to her husband, Mr. Richel. Thomas Wilkinson, 33 tomorrow. And Brian McFadden turns 52 tomorrow as well. Happy birthday to everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't wanna be a douchebag.
No douchebags allowed here. Sir Hoopensoccer changed his title, as we found out earlier. He now becomes the Baron of the Psychedelic Overmind and Related Dimensions, and we appreciate his support for quite a long time, and thank you very much. Dear Baron, may you wear the sash with pride. And then we have, 3 knightings, call one a dame. Sword time?
Here you go.
Nice. So, Janice Oliver, step on up here next to the podium. Travis Mercer and Harold Cooper. Cummerly, that would be it. All three of you have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. I am therefore very proud to pronounce the KB, Dame Knight, Sir Tactician from the Fresh Coast, and Sir Geisha Liquor. For you, we have at the round table, Hookers and Blow, of course, Red Boys and Chardonnay. For the Dame, perhaps, Richbourg Pinot Noir from Burgundy, Scorsy cookies and vodka, some Pog and Poi, some goat chops and cow milk, of course, geishas and sake, vodka, vanilla, bong hits and bourbon, sparkling cider and escorts, ginger ale and gerbils, and obviously the mutton and mead by special request. Thank you all for your support of the No Agenda Show. And if you go to noagendanation.com/rings and fill out some info there, Eric the Show will make sure you get your official Knight or Dame ring. It's a signet ring, so you get the sealing wax with it and the certificate. But most of all, you get the respect of the peerage of the No Agenda Nation.
No agenda.
Lots of knights and dames hanging out at the No Agenda meetups. They are everywhere, and we have a website so you can go and check them out, noagendameetups.com. This coming Saturday, the Greater Seattle Post-Rona Vitamin D Hike Meetup commences at 11 a.m. SUMA is organizing. Check the website for details. At Riggs Brewery, meanwhile, in the Central Illinoisian July meetup will take place at 3:33. That's on Saturday. Sir Kyle the Fearless, Jedi Knight of the Orange Fleet, is hosting. Also on Saturday, Flight 005 of the No Agenda, Leo Bravo, hosting that. Then next week, Wednesday, Denver City Park sit-in, 6 p.m. That'll be at the City Park Denver Museum of Nature and Science. John and Taylor are organizing. And then final for this overview on the 31st. That's Friday, July 31st. What's Cookin' Oregon, Local 33, 6 p.m. at Cook Park, Tigard. And Tim is organizing. Details for all of this are on noagendameetups.com, which is just taken off so well. People love to hang out, talk about the show, but just know that you can talk about anything. You can be clumsy. You can be awkward. Everyone gets it. They're all the same. It's like a party in a way. NoAgendaMeetups.com. If you can't find one, go ahead and start one.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. Like a party.
Yeah. All right. What do we have lingering here?
Oh, we got plenty.
I think you're right. Oh, I
just a little abuse.
Just a little aside. As more and more people and companies start to offer podcasts, just so you understand, No Agenda Show does not upload their podcast to Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play, Stitcher, etc. We have one place where we upload, and these other apps basically take our feed, and many do it different ways. They allow you to listen to the podcast. These are actually really shitty podcast apps. So if something doesn't show up and you can't subscribe manually to a podcast feed, then that's not a podcast app. So as sad as it is, and maybe TuneIn is blocking us, maybe Spotify doesn't know what they're doing, Google Play only wants to track your behavior. That's why you can't subscribe manually. You have to submit it to the directory, and then Google is tracking your behavior. Same with Stitcher, which is now Sirius XM. So consider getting an actual podcast app. Or stop emailing me when it doesn't work.
How about a couple of recommendations? We have a few.
What do you use?
I just do it off the site.
Oh, I use Overcast.
Oh, okay.
I like Overcast a lot. And it's not free. You pay for it, but you get a lot of great features. So that's my recommendation. It's one guy doing a podcast app, and he cares about the listeners and cares about podcasters.
Yeah, you get another guy. Put two guys to be half as good.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That's the weird thing about software.
It's true. It's so true.
Big protests all over the place. Big protest in front of the Massachusetts, I guess one of the State House or something. BLM driver's license protest. I want to play this clip so I can say something about this.
In related news, immigrant families and allies in Boston have been camping outside the Massachusetts State House since Friday, demanding state legislators include a provision in a racial justice bill that would grant undocumented people the right to get a driver's license.
Okay.
And that's so they can vote.
No.
Not so they can drive.
No.
They don't care about driving. They care about voting.
Yep.
Why would all the allies, also known as Democrats, be there protesting? Apparently, the idiot mayor of Portland, one of the dumbest guys running any city, major city, got gassed, I guess, last night because he was in one of the protests protesting the... How can you be the mayor protesting? You're the mayor. Go do something. You can actually do something when you're a city official.
Who is this? Who is the mayor of Portland?
I can't remember his name. He's just a doofus. He's always whining. He's constantly on these. The government said they beat. Here's the pushback clip. This is Portland pushback.
In Portland, Oregon, federal agents tear gassed protesters Tuesday night, the 55th day of demonstrations in Portland against racism and police brutality. Over the past week, unidentified federal agents have been attacking anti-racist protesters, even snatching activists off the streets in unmarked vans. On Tuesday, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Customs and Border Protection arm confirmed it had deployed officers from 3 paramilitary-style units to Portland. Meanwhile, a leaked DHS memo reveals the agency is now conducting domestic surveillance targeting potential threats to federal buildings as well as local statues and monuments. In Washington, the White House press secretary claimed President Trump had the legal right to deploy federal agents to Portland and other cities.
Yes, I find this
to protect federal buildings. Hello.
Yeah, I find this very
She leaves that out, by the way.
Yeah, Ted Wheeler is the guy's name.
Yeah.
I have a package from CBS News, not from the actual evening news thing Nora was hosting, about these troops, the paramilitary that Trump is sending in, and I want to play that to add to the confusion.
Nazis.
After round of tear gas and rubber bullets fired into the crowd by federal agents is becoming a nightly routine. This unnamed protester says he collected some of the spent ammunition.
What was it like when they all came out there?
War, literal war, except you can't fire back on your enemy.
Portland's federal courthouse has been attacked repeatedly, and today the Department of Homeland Security said they have to protect it. Mayors from 6 cities have written the Trump administration demanding the president take immediate action to withdraw your forces. Among those tear-gassed, ER doctor Sharon Myron, who's also a county commissioner.
What the Trump administration calls anarchy, sort of what we call democracy.
And David, the protests start out peacefully here every night and then gradually turn into chaos. The mayor tells me that it's the presence and actions of federal law enforcement agents that have led to an increase in violence and vandalism. David.
The Trump administration says it sent federal agents to Portland, Oregon to defend federal buildings against violent attacks. But the mayor there says that escalated the conflict. Now, mayors from 6 major cities are sending this letter to the attorney general, blasting that deployment.
One of the demands of the protesters is, believe it or not, that the mayor resign.
I know.
That's one of their top demands. But
I know this mayor is such a dummy. Now, I didn't get this clip because there's really nothing to clip. It was just basically a lot of smoke and him bitching about the feds being there. But he's in the crowd protesting himself. Once he was identified as the mayor, the crowd turned on him and started yelling at him and saying, "Get out of town! You've got to quit!" Yeah. And he had to be escorted out, probably by the feds.
So here's the overall meme: is Trump has a paramilitary, and they're going in, and it's illegal, and it's posse comitatus, and it's stormtroopers, etc. And it's really based on one thing. Let me see. I think I have this clip here. There was one video, I have not found another, but one video of what was billed as unmarked feds rousting people off the street, throwing them into unmarked vans. I think this is the clip.
What are you doing? Use your words. What are you doing?
I love this. So the only video that I know exists of so-called rousting protesters and throwing them to unmarked vans when I watch this video, and I encourage everyone to watch this has dramatized music under it. So that there's a guy dressed with a helmet, all black, with a backpack, and the two cops hop out of a van that stops at the intersection, sliding door, Astro van. I see them signaling to the guy. The guy stands there. They come up on either side. The protesters are saying, "Who are you? Use your words," which is some kind of infantile way of asking someone to speak. I don't know. Use your words. Use your mouth. Use your words. This guy is not a protester. He puts his hands behind his back, walks calmly. They didn't handcuff him. No zip tie. This was an observer. It was a Fed who was in there probably, with the forward intelligence or whatever. This was not a protester who was rousted, but yet you get these kinds of videos.
What are you doing? Use your words. What are you doing? Use your words. What are you doing? Use your words. What is going on? We need to know. Who are you? NLG will get you out. What's your name? Tell us your name.
How are we supposed to know who you are? How are we supposed to know you're not kidnapping us and you're civilians kidnapping us?
Yeah, now they're talking to the cops. Very scary. And the guy...
Can your people identify themselves as law enforcement so we don't have to get kidnapped? Feel like we're getting kidnapped?
So this was the basic meme that was sent around. They're kidnapping people. There's no evidence of that at all. But...
well, wait. I did see an interview with a guy who claims to be one of the guys that was thrown in the van.
Oh, good. Where's this?
I don't have a clip, but I can tell you what happened.
Okay.
Because it was interesting. I wish I had the clip. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I blew it. But the guy standing there being interviewed by one of the reporters, I don't know if it's what source this came from, to be honest. It may have been Democracy Now! The guy says, yeah, I was just standing there. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't protesting, and they grabbed me and threw me in the van. And he says, oh, okay, well, then what happened? He says, then they took me over to the police department and checked me for weapons. And then they kicked me out of there. That was it.
Okay, so there are rules for picking people up, and I don't know about this guy. I wish we could find that clip.
I wish I could.
Because you can't do that. I mean, that is...
It could have been bullcrap anyway.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking
But it's still not the same as kidnapping and disappearing the person.
Exactly. So that's the meme, and it's
and they didn't beat the
Trump
crap
is a
out
Nazi.
of him.
No, of course. So they are indeed protecting federal buildings, but there is something worrisome that came out of the pie hole of Chad Wolf, the acting Department of Homeland Security, and these are his people who are on the streets. I also think that the dress code that they're using is just they could make it look more like police and not like military. It's very annoying the way this is done, and it's not actually helping. It's saving the federal buildings and statues, but it's not helping the narrative. It would be so easy to make that just a little more clear what's happening.
Anytime that you attack a federal facility, such as a courthouse there in Portland, that is a federal crime. Attacking federal police officers and law enforcement officers, which they have done for 52 nights in a row, is a federal crime.
Agreed.
And so the department, because we don't have that local support, that local law enforcement support, we are having to go out and proactively arrest individuals.
Okay, so I don't like that. Proactively is like, what is that? Pre-crime, pre-thought? I mean, you can't really do that. So if that's what's happening, I'm against it. Otherwise, tear gas those babies.
Hold on. I think he's just this guy. He's just misusing the word proactive.
Okay, that's why I said I'm not sure, but he shouldn't be acting anything if he can't get his story straight. It's important because they're doing something here, and it's creating a lot of crap, and this Trump fucking it up, really. He's not doing a good job with this.
That local law enforcement support, we are having to go out and proactively arrest individuals, and we need to do that because we need to hold them accountable. This idea that they can attack federal property and law enforcement officers and go to the other side of the street and say, you can't touch me, is ridiculous. We don't do that in any other type of law enforcement. We pursue a criminal, we investigate, we pull them over if you have probable cause, we arrest them, we charge them, and we prosecute them. And you need to hold individuals accountable, and when we don't do that, I think we get what we see in Portland today.
I'm pretty sure it's played by the book. I just think that, again, the way it's being the whole of government.
I'm telling you, it doesn't bother me in the least. I don't know how you can. I mean, you think this Trump is screwing it up. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's great. That Portland situation is completely out of control. It's a stateless. It has no government.
But please don't mistake me thinking that it's good that you have to roust these kids. It's just the way to do it. And I'm tired. I mean, I have to go through all the reporting crap because it sounds like, he's sending stormtroopers. I know it's bull crap, but it's not helpful to anybody. Of course, what really needs to happen is these cities need to go stew in their own juice. Screw them.
Well, the problem is there's federal property there that does have to be protected.
Which is being done. But Trump now he desperately wants these mayors to say, help me, help me. They're not going to do it, and he should stop and let it just burn it to the ground. But don't give him money in the bailout coming up. And that's what this is going to be about.
Well, Portland is definitely going to be trashed.
This place has been trashed for the past 3-4 years. People are camping in every single park, which is ridden now with crime and drugs. It's a really bad scene in Portland. This is not just, the past 50 days has been bad. The whole thing. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but a couple of, guys protecting federal buildings is not going to stop this.
No, I don't think so either. But that mayor is not going to stop things. And if they're going to defund the police, won't they just, which they've done in Minnesota? We'll see how that works. I don't know. I find the whole thing to be highly amusing because of the specific cities involved. In that report, there was mentioned, I think it was 5 mayors, and the 5 mayors are all Democrats. They're all radicalized Democrats, and they somehow became mayors.
Right.
In cities like Seattle, which have been radicalized at all levels. I mean, and San Francisco is the same way, where you have a district attorney who's supposed to prosecute the crimes, as it would say on the Law and Order show, and they still let anything under $1,000 they won't even bother with.
Right.
Shoplifting's rampant.
Right. Yep. Well, it's San Francisco. I don't care.
But San Francisco's San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, all these West Coast towns.
Well, New York is getting pretty bad
there.
too.
L.A. is never been manageable, so who knows what's going on there.
New York is bad.
New York is terrible.
Yeah. And Austin's been pretty good, though. I mean, we're not that big. We're only 1 million people all the way through.
San Francisco's got less than 1 million.
Really now?
800,000, I believe.
Wow. Such a mess.
Yeah, it's a little bitty town.
There's no cleaning it up. Unless, of course, we elect Kanye as president.
Well, he's not going to clean up San Francisco.
My gosh. Poor guy. He's being train wrecked now. Have you followed any of it?
I follow a couple of things. They're going after him for his comments about Tubman, for one thing.
Well, they're going... I mean, he did a campaign rally, which was a huge wreck. I mean, he didn't even have a mic. He was wearing a security flak jacket. And I understand when it's so reminiscent of Trump. Stuff comes out of his mouth. You're like, what? Like these kind of, pukish type sentences of stuff. And then, if you really think about it, he's saying something pretty good, actually. But it's so easy to, now his whole family is saying that he's having a bipolar episode. Even Kim posting a whole thing on Instagram saying, he's going to, please, if you know what it's like, he needs love now. But he's still pushing it. We'll see. He's getting attention, which I think is the key to this.
Well, he's got a new album apparently is going to be released shortly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to be dropped.
Yeah, you got to say it right.
So let's listen to this clip. This is an interesting clip. This is a COVID. There's one thing that's being reported a lot on around the country, but they're not real. It's like nobody's really making a fuss about it. And I'm amused as hell by it, especially here at San Quentin where we have a COVID outbreak. And pretty much the guys that are on death row, the worst of the worst guys, they're dropping like flies. And they talk about it, but nobody's really too well, if anybody should be dying, it should be that guy. And so there's mixed emotions about these prisoners in San Quentin, the big Q, that are dying. This is the San Quentin report from Democracy Now!
San
I'm sorry,
Quentin?
COVID. So one of the COVID clips.
Got it.
In California, the coronavirus death toll at San Quentin State Prison has now reached 12. More than 2,000 men held at the prison have tested positive in one of the nation's worst outbreaks. In Texas, more than 500 women jailed at a federal medical prison in Fort Worth have tested positive for coronavirus, including National Security Agency whistleblower Reality Winter. Winner.
Funny flub.
Yeah, well, that brought out the ISO I have suggested for today's show, which is at the bottom of the list, called Winner.
Winner.
I'll take it. It's good. Yeah. It's good. I believe who was the porn lawyer? Stormy Daniels' lawyer?
Oh, yeah, that guy. I forgot his name already.
Yeah, I think he's suing to get out of jail because, he's corona danger, and he's saying Trump wants to kill him. By keeping him in jail.
Trump does want to kill him.
Pretty much. Very astute.
What's new about that?
Very astute. Avenatti, that's the guy's name. Michael Avenatti.
Avenatti. Yeah, the guy that we had that clip blitz with that guy, all the clips with him. Oh, he's going to be the next president.
Sure.
And MSNBC was, oh, you're so great. The guy was a criminal.
Yeah, kind of.
No, not kind of. He's in jail.
Yeah, he's in jail for it. Yeah, you're right. Yes. Wow. The ACLU is now carrying his case. The ACLU, we are suing the federal government for imprisoning. Oh, that's Michael Cohen. I'm sorry. That's not Avenatti. That's Cohen. That's good too. Yeah, Michael Cohen. But that's not for COVID. That's for publishing a book. Oh, brother, whatever. ACLU, man. What are they up to? I used to support him.
They've lost the plot.
Yeah, I used to support him. No more. All right, let's see. I don't really have anything specific other than can push the OTG to Sunday. I do have some fun things. Looks like the elite.
Well, I do have a short Biden gaffe.
Always good. Biden gaffe is always good.
Yes, Biden at the hospital.
Yep.
And I had a nurse nurses at Walter Reed Hospital who would bend down and whisper in my ear. Wow. And go home and get me pillows. They would make sure they'd actually, probably nothing ever taught in, you can't do it in the COVID time, but they'd actually breathe in my nostrils to make me move, to get me moving.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next president of your United States.
Wow. That's when they took the top of his head off?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, that's fantastic. Poor Joe.
Yeah, poor Joe. Well, they never cover anything.
The good thing is, doesn't matter who becomes president, it's good for the show. Remember this, people.
Everything is, yes, and it's good for our listeners to have us cover this stuff because then they won't go nuts like the mainstream media wants to drive them.
And if you derived any value from this deconstruction, we'd love to hear from you by going to Dvorak.org/NA. Coming up, it's a Nick the Rat Show with my interview. And end of show mixes, we've got, let me see, we have Professor JJ, we've got Jesse Coy Nelson, and we also have a good Rolfie production. Look forward to that. Coming to you from Austin, Texas, that is Opportunity Zone 33 here, the capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA region number 6 in the governmental maps. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where they're digging up my street, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday, the second Thursday, right here on No Agenda. Until then, adios, mofos! And such.
You're listening to the OMB Network. Orange Man. Bad.
when some kids won't survive the trial due to adjuvants or bacterial contaminants. It's not that easy planning disease. You must plan all scenarios and invent to a war simulation with ICU overrun and no TP left to buy. But injections bring wonderful things, paralyzing 500,000 in India, and selling vaccines with no liability. Profits fly like a fountain, and God still makes them cease. When disease is what the folks need, I stopped upon the now. It's time for a shutdown. Inject my vaccine, you do fine. Chips are beautiful. Now you have
You are listening to the OMB Network. Orange Man bad. Sit with that.
As a result of being raised as a white person in this society, I have a racist worldview. I have deep racist biases. I have developed racist patterns. While we who are white tend to be fragile in that it doesn't take much to upset us around race, the impact of our response is not fragile at all. It's a kind of weaponized defensiveness, weaponized hurt feelings, right?
I believe white privilege is a myth. The way that they are stating that every single white person that's born have this same level of privilege that gives them an advantage over every black person that's born is rooted in hatred, deception, and division. White people still have to get up every day and go to work. And if they don't work, they don't eat. And if you work hard enough to be successful, if you don't work hard enough, you're going to end up being poor. If you sit around and complain, you're going to be poor. Have you ever heard of trailer parks? Have you ever heard of poor white people? They don't just somehow get grandfathered in to success in society just because of the color of their skin.
About racism, anti-blackness, or violence. I will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible. And do everything in my power to educate my community.
I work for Black Lives Matter. Since I work for that company, my CEO has told me to come out today and to bring you on your knees because you have white privilege. And could you just please apologize for your white privilege?
You're listening to Orange Man Bad, OMB, Orange Man Bad, OMB Network.
Arms up. B is a floppy disk, boy. Not
possible.
Arms up. B is a floppy disk, boy. Not
possible.
Arms up. B is a floppy disk, boy. Not
possible.
Arms up. B is a floppy disk, boy. Wait, stop.
What?
Sorry, I saw it segue
I heard you
and
going.
I jumped on it.
I heard you going. I loved it. All right, this one's for you, baby. Jean-Claude? Hello?
It's dynamite. 3, 2,
1. Now that's a hot take. The best podcast in the universe. Mofo. Dvorak.org/NA.
winner.
Turn down your goddamn radio! Please remember, when calling the Nick the Rat Show, turn down your goddamn radio. This message has been brought to you by the No Agenda Stream and producers like you.
You see, I know you're not real, man, because I'm loaded, okay? I've had some experience in that area. Besides, that whole rap of yours is bull anyway. Good, evil, it's all the same crap. Rock and roll's the only thing that counts, dig? Hard ass, blistering, awesome, heavy metal, rock and roll.
We'll see.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Rock and roll. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Nick the Rat Radio. I am he, Nick the rat, the rodent, the man in the sewer, the sewer man, sewer rat man. And this is the Nick the Rat Radio. Episode 240, a very special episode for you, everybody out there tonight. Super duper a super duper episode for everybody tonight. It is July 22nd, 2020. It's 11 o'clock at night. That's when I like to, get all creepy and crawly with everybody. But tonight we have an episode where I will be interviewing one of my heroes, the man that started podcasts, the big-haired, sexy motherfucker from MTV, the guy that did a whole bunch of other stuff. He had shows and podcasts, and he started the Born on Date on Budweiser, and he registered MTV.com before there was even websites, and he had a helicopter and a gold brick and a whole bunch of other really awesome stuff. Adam Curry. I will be interviewing Adam Curry on tonight's episode. Now, mind you, this was pre-recorded. I recorded it yesterday with him. It's a little too late for him right now. He's very busy. A very busy man. But I got him for an hour and a half. And it was a great interview. It was an amazing interview. I'm speechless about how awesome he is and how amazing he is. Now, just a couple of things before I start the video of the interview up. I had a little issue with Skype, of course. That always happens. So the video is a little bit, a little fucky for a little bit, but it gets better. Trust me, I fixed it up to be usable. We'll say after about 5 minutes or so. But either way, I'm gonna play it raw. I didn't do any editing. It's all in there. It's 100% unedited, super duper greasy, dirty, filthy, lubricated, raw as well. Interview. Had a great time with you, Adam. I just want to say thank you again for doing it with me, and just want to say if I got drunk and said anything bad about John, that's still I want to interview you too, John, really badly, and I hope that you don't get upset by the things that I said about you. But now there's the tease for John to actually listen to it, because he's like, oh, they talked about me. But yeah, host of the No Agenda Show, host of MoFax, great podcast. You should definitely listen to those things. If you're not listening to No Agenda or MoFax, you're missing out on really good infotainment. But anyway, I think I said Adam Curry. I'm interviewing Adam Curry. All right, let's start it up. And then after that's over, we're gonna get right back to the show where we're gonna have phone calls and music and no news, no Zindu this week. But either way, yes, John did listen to this show once. John was a little jerk to me too, so, I get him back here behind his back, and Adam calls me a pussy for it. But either way, let's start it up. I hope you all enjoy. Sit back, relax. I'll be in the chat. Your chat's not going to pop up over here if you're watching the video. If you want to watch the video of this, there is video. You could see Adam talking to me. If you go to the twitch.tv/Nick the Rat, otherwise, if you're tuned in, you can find it all there. And enough talking. I'm super hyped. I can't wait to watch this again. I had a great time. Here we go. The interview with Adam Curry, the Podfather.
Hey, Nick.
Test. 1, 2, test.
Do I need to turn my video on? Seriously?
You don't have to, but you could if you want.
Oh, God. There you go.
If you want, I'll unvideoize you, but let's see here. Let me just make sure I got the video working in this stupid stream. Boop, boop, boo. There you go. All right, now you're just a little box. Let me just fix that, and then we could, good to go. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at, yo?
There's nothing to laugh at.
That's
nice
right.
mic.
Somebody awesome told me to pick this out.
Smart motherfucker.
He was. Why is my video of you coming in as like a little itty bitty tiny box? This is.
I don't know. I see that I'm a little itty bitty tiny box too. Hold on. What if I do a window?
It's not. It's my recording software is making you just a sliver. Let me reset this box here. Let me delete this. Sorry about the wait here.
No worries.
Okay, let's see. Trash. Bam. Throw that away. Let's add a new one. Window capture. Yes. And we're going to capture that. Perfect. There we go. Okay, now we're almost there.
Oops, sorry.
Whoa, now you're gone. Nope, now you're back.
I'm back.
Okay, let me just resize you, get you in the middle, because I had Andrew Horowitz off to the side. It was a little weird, but you are looking good in the middle. Okay, all right, I'm ready to start whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, well then, let's bring up my list of questions here. I got some very important questions for you.
I love this hat. Is that available at noagendashop.com?
No, sadly it's not. Have you ever heard of some lady named Gator Lady? This older black lady that lives down south that listens to No Agenda?
No. Where do I find her?
She was on No Agenda Social, but she hasn't posted in a long time, and I'm kind of worried about her. But,
okay.
She sent me this patch. She used to call my show and make funny jokes about how she wanted to jump on my bone.
Now did she also make other arts and crafts for the show?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I do know. I don't know about the Gator Lady moniker. I think her name was something else.
Eureka, CJ Eureka.
Yes, you're CJ Eureka. Sure, of course I remember her.
She always called herself Gator Lady. I think she burnt her hand or something, and she had like a burn hand or something, and she called herself.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Well, I was just looking at this, and I think a hat combo that has that ITM patch, has the ears, the sunglasses, and the headphones all as one unit that you just put on, and maybe even as a bonus, the facial hair it's dynamite. It is a premium I would be interested in myself.
Too bad you don't do a video podcast.
Yeah, I'm really not even happy doing this one, honestly.
If you want, I can turn it off. It doesn't matter. It's all good.
No, it's okay. It's all right. That's fine. I feel I can be myself on this show.
You could. You could be a strange-o and a wacky person, or a uncomfortable person.
Nick, what do you do actually in the sewer? Do you have a job?
Do I have a job? You're trying to get to the meat and the bones of what I'm doing over here?
Well, I've figured one of two things. Yeah. I mean, this is you can only be one of two kind of people.
Yeah.
I hope and I think that you're a Banksy type person. You know, somehow you make a lot of money on art, and we don't really know it's you, or you could be anything like that. And it doesn't have to be graffiti, but you're some kind of Banksy type dude. Mysterious, has a group of collectors.
Possibly.
Wait, let me get to my second one.
Oh, okay.
You're a trust fund baby. It has to be one of the two.
I fucking wish. All right. So I usually don't reveal too much about myself, but I do work in IT. I am a dude named Ben.
Really? Why did I think you were an artist?
Because I am an artist. I went to school for art, but
see,
I was like,
I've seen your work. Your work is architectural.
I went for graphic design and illustration.
Okay.
And
now you're repairing desktop PCs for Karens? Oh man.
More or less. Do you know why though?
Why?
It's because
Pays better.
Slightly. That's part. Sort of is, but mainly with art, there's no real answer. Like you'll be in like a meeting and they'll be like, "No, we want it to look like this," and you'll be sitting there like, "What? No." But with
special commercial art. Oh my God. No, I had a business that did this. It's horrible. Are you telling people, be creative, make it like this, and have it done by Wednesday?
This is very true. Crap. One second. I think I have maybe your Skype name up on the screen. Let me see if I could get rid of that, and if anything, I'll block it out.
No, it doesn't bother me. We don't use it anymore.
Oh, okay, that's good. Oh yeah, you use that new
Clean feed, baby. Yeah.
I heard a lot of good stuff about it.
Now. Yeah, I'm very pleased with it. Has a lot of good stuff. And people notice the difference.
They do. It's okay, let me just go one here.
But sometimes this Skype connection seems to be pretty good. I mean, sometimes Skype outperforms itself.
I blame John.
Oh, of course. It's all his fucking hacked rigs that he puts together himself, and he's always blocking the updates because he knows it's going to break all his drivers, and yeah, of course, it's always his fault. Technical stuff, by definition, his fault.
That's very true. It's very true.
Very, very true. He says.
I have a lot of stuff to say about John, but maybe I'll say it in a little bit.
To his face. Say it to his face.
I mean, okay, I will say it to his face if he comes on the podcast, but I don't know if he ever will.
I'm here though, Nick. I mean, next I can do, if I do Grimerica, then I can die.
That's true.
Then I'm done. Then I'm done.
Hit all the bucket lists.
But I have called into your show before.
Yes, you have. And you were the devil. You were like,
yeah, that's right. I called when I had the vocoder still. Yeah, that was cool.
You were cursing me out on my own show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to that. All right, so let me get into this podcast proper here, even though your video has a little preview of me in the corner too, because fucking Skype sucks. But deal with it. What got you into radio? Where did you start off getting into this whole radio ordeal? Because
I first got into radio when my grandmother gave me a Sony transistor radio. It was an AM radio about that big. It felt robust, had a little leatherette case around it, 9-volt battery, which was a big deal back in the day. 9-volt. We still had D cells to play with, You had D cell and a light.
Yeah.
Cool. Beautiful. And I would listen to basketball games with that thing under my pillow. And it wasn't so much that I really was into the game. In fact, not at all, but I would listen to how these guys were describing it. And you could hear the squeaking, the sound of it, the squeaking of the sneakers on the floor. You could hear the baskets, and I don't know how much crowd noise. Not like today, no way. It was much different, and they probably mixed it out on purpose or whatever they did.
Are you into ASMR, by the way? Now you're talking about squeaky sounds.
No, it was more the theater of the mind. I think that's kind of where my love for it came from. And I didn't listen to a lot of radio when I was very young. So this is probably when I was 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Then we moved to the Netherlands. And my parents had, those old big record players, like a cabinet. And so they had Jesus Christ Superstar and some Elvis stuff and, Jonathan Winter's 100-Year-Old Man interview comedy record. So yeah, there was some in 78s, but that didn't move with us when we moved from the States to the Netherlands. And, I pretty quickly found out that the whole media landscape there was shit because you had, television that only came on at 7 p.m., 2 channels, and at 7 it was the same news on both channels, the same guy, and the whole thing was boring. It was apparently political. Radio wasn't much better, and there was only one station for the kids, the Top 40 station, the popular music station, which played polka music. So, but I had the I don't know if it was that radio. I think my parents gave me I was always kind of into ham radio stuff and walkie-talkies. They gave me a shortwave radio, and there was so much more to listen to. And I remember hearing Wolfman Jack on Radio Luxembourg, and he would come in at midnight or something. Wolfman Jack, the propagation waving in and out. And so I always enjoyed that. And pretty soon I found that as I was starting to get interested in music and had had a record player and a clock radio. This was a big thing when I was a kid. When you were like 12 or maybe even 11, you got a present. It was a clock radio. And if you had one that had the green letters, because, it would start off with the red LEDs. If you had one with green, that was the shit. And it could dim and all kinds of stuff. And you could have your alarm clock would be the radio. But of course, when it turned on, it was shit. But then you had the pirate radio stations in the Netherlands, and they were offshore. They were Radio Caroline, Radio Veronica, Radio Mi Amigo, and these were ships on the North Sea in territorial waters. And many of them were broadcasting both to the UK and to the mainland. And the Dutch were nuts about them. They had their own ship, Radio Veronica, and they were playing Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, other stuff as well. But Bobby Goldsboro. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that was just not available on the radio. So I really got into it, and I built my own little transmitters. There's this parallel of technology and kind of the radio that went alongside each other. And the first one is when my parents gave me a Radio Shack 101 project kit, which has all these little, all the components, and has springs, and you have different length wires that are color coded. And it has a little schematic. Okay, you're going to build a little transmitter, and you put your stuff in there, connect the wires, and then you could transmit to a radio. I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I wonder how far it would reach. So, added wire, a lot of wire. It didn't really know anything about power other than my thinking was, well, what if I put 2 batteries on it? Maybe it'll, and it did, of course, until I put 3 on, then it didn't work so well. So I kind of learned these things alongside of each other. I remember I built a little mix. No, I had a turntable, and I hooked it up to one of these transmitters. And my mom actually drove me around the block to see how far my signal would go.
Wow!
But could I just put a record on a long LP, an album, and then but then some other kids had heard it too, and they knew what I was up to. And so before you know it, I had 2 turntables, and I built a little mixer, and for hours I would practice on my microphone to sound exactly like this. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Did a lot of work, because I did not sound like that at all.
You sound a little more like me probably at the time.
Yeah, a little bit. But, these days, it's actually beautiful to hear a different kind of voice. And then when I was 15, and I was doing this, and I had ham radios, and I was breaking in on the central television antenna to transmit a porn movie, and just all kinds of cool shit that was going on. That's a whole nother story by itself. And then there was an ad in the local paper. They were looking for hosts and engineers for a hospital radio station, a closed circuit radio station. Hold on a second. I just got a note here from the keeper. Oh, my God. A Karen reported on her.
Oh, no.
Oh, my. Handcuffs.
I'll send the rats in. Uh-oh, she got handcuffed? Oh, no.
He said, got reported by Karen for not wearing my mask while I drink my coffee. Oh, my, I say. Handcuffs? Fucking crazy.
You're supposed to use a straw and put it under the mask.
I'm going out of control here.
Yeah.
And so they were looking for hosts, and they were looking for engineers. I was 15. You had to be 16. My parents said, go ahead. Just tell them you're 16. And I didn't. I did not. I failed for my presenter test, but I was hired as an engineer. So here I was in a professional studio. You could queue up records and all this stuff and different mics, and I learned so much. And it was all volunteer work, but I really got a lot of chops there because other people who, well, maybe not the most swinging people, certainly knew radio, and I learned so much from them. And that's where I met some of the other guys who are actually doing pirate work in Amsterdam at Decibel Radio, and they coerced me to go over there, and I did one show in English as John Holden, because of course, this was a big station. This blanketed all of the kind of the tri-state area, if you will, of the Netherlands. And, they were playing import records from Chicago Warehouse, and we're talking 79, 80, just kind of right into the 80s, 81. And it was a fantastic scene, and they had a huge following. They only broadcast in the weekend from Friday afternoon to Monday morning. But they were superstars. And so I joined them, and, really built up this incredible persona. And I was hooked, man. I could be found in the antenna at 3 a.m. to adjust something, but I could also be found, doing the extra late shift or whatever it took. It was, I was completely hooked on it, and then went to find a college where I could learn broadcast communications and be on the air as a freshman at the same time. And none of them will do that except for one dorky college, Salem College in West Virginia. So I went there. And after 3 months, I was like, I was running the station, and I was like, wait a minute, you're just drinking all you can and smoking all this weed. I'm from Amsterdam. I don't need this aggravation. I got to get out of here. And so I quit.
Wow. And this is that one. So you basically answered about 10 of the questions that I had lined up. Like, do your parents support you? Yeah, they supported you a lot. God bless them.
Well, yeah and no. Hold on a second. Let me see. This is a sub. We have a sub thing here. No, she did not get put in handcuffs.
Live updates, everybody.
Thank goodness. My wife, man, she's fantastic.
She sounds great.
She's my best friend, man. She's my best friend.
Nice.
All right, what was your question?
Did your parents support your whole radio?
Well, no. I mean, they hated the whole idea. Well, they were very supportive of my whole, radio thing. But then when I was like, I want to leave, no. Now, my family, all government, State Department, CIA, military, Ivy League, everyone's like, no. So I couldn't go straight back. I first had to go to Mead Road, where my grandparents were. It's kind of like the patriarchal homestead of the family. And then, they had some professors over telling me about the value of education. Then I had to go through DC to Uncle Don, the CIA guy, who'd been ambassador to South Korea. He's like, brr. But I have to say, Uncle Don was always like, well, you make a choice, man, son. Later in life, he took me aside and said, holy crap, man. You did so much better than I did. I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, look at you, all the success and the money. I said, but you jumped out of airplanes and saved the world. He said, yeah, I think it would have been cooler to be a VJ on MTV. And they said, okay, you can come back. We have 1 month to either be back in school, some higher education, or you're paying rent, or you get out. And now, to be fair, my dad had written a book called The Self-Marketing Toolkit. And I'm not quite sure why he wrote it. Maybe he wrote it for himself. But it kind of explained how to look at a resume differently. Instead of here's what I've done, here's what I'm looking for. It was like, here's what I can do right now for your organization. Buy now while stocks last. That kind of idea. And I sent a letter off with some weird videotape of me in the studio hanging out with the Decibel guys to Lex Harding, who had been on one of those pirate ships and now was running a legal entity, broadcast corporation with real radio airtime, is starting to hip up a little bit. The pirate guys are now turning legit. And it turned out that they were just about to lose their host of their number one music show, which was called Countdown. It was there was Top Pop and Countdown was the rock and roll, we're throwing beer on each other, and Top Pop was still kind of stuck in the disco 80s era, or 70s era. So we're like, that was kind of lame, but Countdown was, U2 and all this, like early U2.
Yeah.
But also Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I mean, yeah, exactly. And they were fucking good. They were the best, Simple Minds, Ultravox, The Cure, but also early Bananarama, whatever. It was all happening. And even, Michael Jackson was coming. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening. So they were losing the host of that show, and they saw me, and I could speak English because there's a lot of interviews because the artists actually used to come all the time.
Ew.
And that too. That's a different story. And then they said, I met him, and he said, this is great. You're going to be hosting Countdown next week.
Well.
And that was like 3 weeks before my parents were going to kick me out. So I got that job. I went, hey, see you, bye. Got a place on the canal, got a cat, got a car, all this stuff. Didn't know how to take care of myself, but I was off to the races, and just really almost haven't looked back since then, honestly.
That's awesome.
Only recently I start to look back a little bit.
It's always good to see where you came from. It kind of helps branch out. So from Deutschland Pirate Radio, not Pirate Radio. How'd you get to MTV? Did you send like a resume there, or
it was Holland, not Deutschland?
I know. My geography is horrible.
It's like me calling you a mouse or gerbil.
It happens,
which may be more realistic. And so I was doing Countdown. We also were doing Europa Television, which was, you know how they have the Eurovision Song Contest?
Yeah.
So, of course, you know, with the movie, the Will Ferrell movie. So this European Broadcast Union, they set up a global satellite network. Satellite television was just kind of happening then. You had Sky Sports, Sky TV, Euro Channel, and then Euro TV, which was all the public broadcasters. So we were doing the show on the public broadcast side, but we also had a commercial version that we were putting on Sky. I think it was Euronet.
Skynet. No. Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. Our Skype connection is cutting. Let's see if I'm still connected to the internet.
What I get it. There you go. Are you back?
Yeah, we're back. That was the Skype pickup right there. The last thing I heard was the Sky
right.
Skylink
okay.
or something?
So, yeah, Skylink. Exactly. So we have a half-hour show on this Europa Television, which is all the public broadcasters from the newly formed European Union and the European Broadcast Union, which is much bigger.
Yeah.
And so everyone was providing content. We provided a half hour of music. Now, this is 1980, 81 maybe. And Portugal, all of a sudden, is in the European Union. They get, it's a third world country. They got no fucking roads. It's a shithole. And the Portuguese would say, yeah, it was a shithole. But all of a sudden, they put this Europa Television on their number 2 government channel all day long. So all of a sudden, out of nothing, from third world country, here's this bam, the 6'5" blonde guy playing Bon Jovi videos and reading their postcards. I mean, they were tripping the fuck out. We even did a show. We did a tour. We went to Portugal. Like, yeah, we'll do a couple shows there. And so the Portuguese tourist industry had just blanketed the whole country. We're at the airport. We're getting our bags. And in those days, you had the big equipment with the crew. So you had a carnet, which means you have to declare everything. So it takes hours and hours to get through customs and get everything. And there was this weird sound in the airport. Like a hissing sound.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure it out. And so we're just waiting. And so after an hour and a half or so, the carnet's done. And we're going to go towards the exit with all of our equipment and our bags. And the sliding doors open. There's 6,000 kids. And we weren't prepared. We didn't have a getaway car. We had no security. We didn't have limos or nothing. And, there were girls there. Because I would joke on the air like, hey, I'd love to have a Lamborghini. Some chick shows up with her dad's Lamborghini. Here, you can have this, you can have me. It was nuts. Anyway, so all this is going on, and I guess MTV had been looking around in Europe, or the executives had been in Europe, and I get a call one day from Steve Leeds, who's now the VP of it's probably president of whatever, VP talent at Sirius XM. He says, hey, Adam, yeah, we've seen your stuff. You want to come work for MTV? I said, where? In New York, to MTV in the U.S. New York. Said, okay, when do you want me there? And I think 2 months later, I was there. I started October 87.
Oh, man. So you left the Portuguese people to come to America?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Might have been a good choice. Might have been. I don't know.
They got a lot of money now there in Portugal.
Yeah. Well, don't they have that whole legalization of drugs there? Like, you could do any drug you want? Or is that?
I think it's I don't know if it's legalized, but it's decriminalized, and you can get your drugs on prescription. But yeah, it's an experiment that has shown largely that decriminalization really removes a lot of the problems. You do have to have a support network, and I don't know what that costs. I don't know enough about it, because when I ask people, they're like, it definitely is cool, but everyone's like, there's some downsides that aren't talked about.
Yeah, there definitely has to
I'm
be.
sure.
Some drugs are perfectly fine in my opinion, and then there's some that are just, they're not good for you.
I haven't done them all, Nick, so I can only speak to a few.
Well, weed's okay in my book, so you could keep on smoking.
I'm very good with that. Yes.
So Did you do the Beach House at all? MTV Beach House, or you just did Headbangers Ball?
No, I did.
You
I did
like
lots of
everything.
The Beach House. I did the first 2 years. My main guy out there was Bill Bellamy, and we hung out all day long. We got along very well. We played Street Fighter all the time. And we all, who can be Dawson? And Kennedy was there. Jon Stewart was there when he was just starting off the show. Jon Stewart show. Who else was there? Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a cool concept. It was we didn't actually stay in the house, of course. You know, that was crew, and there was quite a schedule. But it was a fun time. The first 2 years, I think, maybe after the first year I'd had enough of it, and I was like, okay, that was great. But it was still kind of a cool idea, and it really gave the entire staff who, we were in Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
The summer was a fucking hellhole in Manhattan. I was like, oh, we'll do anything. We'll get on the damn jitney as long as we don't have to be in this hellhole. We'll travel for 3 hours to get to Quag, which is where it was. It was good. There was some fun times there for sure. But it was real. It was real TV production. It was real work that went on.
The audience, were it was like a handpicked audience, or did anything happen there that was not supposed to happen? Sorta. Was there any
I'm sure things happened but I was so oblivious to most of that. The only time I remember is Hasselhoff came to do a couple of segments, and he had clearly been partying all night, and so my producer at the time was like, all right, let's just take a little break. We were sitting in like a kiddies pool or something. I have a picture of it. The guy looks totally smashed. And it was like, all right, David, maybe, do you want to go to the bathroom? Don't bump into anybody on your way there. Oh, yeah. And, so there was some of that, but I mean, I don't know. I stayed away from most debauchery.
Gotcha.
I'm sure that there was stuff going on. I mean, later on, MTV Spring Break, which I actually helped them pitch it to Budweiser, because Spring Break started because we wanted Budweiser advertising on the channel, not because we wanted to go do production Spring Break. But they loved it. It's their audience. It was perfect. So I usually got stuck on the damn boat with that fucking dog, Spuds McKenzie, that fucking gig, with my hair all wet, and it looks like a Ross Pastafarian. The hair would just melt in a second. And that's where some crazy shit happened. But that, and like the Danny Bonaducci stuff, there was just, it got to be pretty damn wild, especially when they got the B celebrities to come in and do some of the hosting jobs.
Yeah. I heard Spuds McKenzie was a pimp.
What's that?
I heard Spuds McKenzie was a pimp. He had a lot of babes and stuff.
Sure did. The thing I liked the most, there was a while that MTV had done some kind of deal with the Pro Mogul Tour, and no one could ski but me. So I went all